Chapter 1. Lance's Victory Road. Kanto Region. Indigo Plateau. Champion Arena. Lance, wearing his signature black and red trench coat, sat cross-legged on the rock-facing battlefield, eyes closed. Beside him is his most trusted partner Dragonite. But at this point, the Pokémon looked a little tired. At this point, the Champion Arena was already full of spectators. Most of them were dressed in standard clothing, obviously superior trainers within the league, and there were tourists from all over the world. The purpose is to watch the journey of Lance, the champion of Johto region and the Dragon Elite of Kanto region, to challenge the double region champion. Mr. Lance, one of the 4 elites in Kanto, has defeated 2 elites, Agatha and Bruno. Now he only needs to defeat the last Ice-type elite Lorelei, and he will be able to successfully win the title of champion. Everyone, please cheer to Mr. Lance. The high-pitched voice of the host in the arena kept echoing. With the host's words, the atmosphere was heated up again. For a while, the arena was filled with shouts of people. Come on, Mr. Lance, take Lorelei. It's time for us to have a champion in Kanto. Mr. Dew, you must win. Dragon-type Pokémon are invincible. Lance will not lose. Win. In the competition square, countless trainers who supported Lance shouted loudly, and their words were full of passion. It was also in the midst of the heated discussions of the crowd. At the other end of the arena, a young woman with a cold face slowly walked out. It was the Ice Element Elite Lorelei from the Kanto region. The appearance of Lorelei ushered in a new wave of voices in the audience. Miss Lorelei, show all your strength and you will definitely win. Yes, stop Lance and let him know that the champion of the strongest region is not so easy to be. You farts, this time the winner must be Mr. Lance. That's right, Dew Elite is the strongest. This time he will definitely become the champion of Kanto Double Region. With the appearance of Lorelei, there were 2 shouts in the battlefield. Some of them support Lorelei, some support Lance, and the competition is fierce. But no matter what happened off the court, Lorelei and Lance on the court were unaffected. I saw them standing silently on both sides of the battlefield, and then took out various Pokeballs from their waists. Flashes with red light. A burly Charizard appeared in front of Lance, chewing flames in his mouth. In front of his opponent, Lorelei, is a dugong crawling. When the 2 Pokémon appeared, the host's voice echoed in the arena again. It will now be the Lance Elite, facing the last opponent on the road to the champion. Let's see if Charizard's flames will burn his way to victory, or will Dugong's frost freeze his dreams. After this remark, the audience was even more frenzied. Come on, Lance. Come on, Lance. Countless people shouted, watching Lance in a black and red trench coat, expecting him to perform miracles. They are in the Kanto region. A champion should be born. While everyone was watching, Professor Oak and the others in the VIP seat of the arena shook their heads slightly. Although Lance's strength is good, it is very difficult for him to take down this game. Yes, it's still a little bit worse after all. When Professor Oak finished speaking, a few people watching the game around him agreed. If there is an Alliance trainer present here at this time, it must be extremely shocked. Because of these people, all of them are mega celebrities resounding in the region. They are the Alliance President Demalangi, as well as Ghost Elite Agatha and Fighting Elite Bruno. It's a pity. If Lorelei is not the last to play, there is still a good chance for Dew. Demalangi shook his head. Dew's Dragon Legion itself is restrained by the Ice attribute. In addition to Charizard, the Ace Dragonite in his hand is the Pokémon of the Dragon type and the Flying type, and it is even more difficult to resist the Frost attack of Lorelei. It's too hard to win. At this time, Bruno was still wearing the shirtless dress he used to do, and he made a sharp judgment. Ghost-type Elite Agatha, although not speaking, nodded silently, apparently agreeing with the judgment of the rest of the VIP room. They all admit that Lance is strong, very strong. But in the case of repeated battles, Pokémon's physical energy is greatly consumed, and the attributes are extremely restrained. Almost impossible to win. Unless you use the transformation skills many times to increase the ability value of Charizard, who restrains the Ice-type Pokémon, you can push the team. However, Lorelei will not give Lance this opportunity. Professor Oak analyzes. Sure enough, Lance just shouted loudly in the arena, Charizard, use Dragon Dance. But in the next second, Lorelei made a decisive decision. Dugong, use Surf. In an instant, a massive amount of water-type energy gathered in the field and turned into a wave that rushed towards Charizard. In desperation, Lance could only withdraw the order. Avoid, he shouted loudly. What happened next was not far from the predictions of Elite and Professor Oak in the VIP room. Having previously played against the rest of the elite Pokemon, Charizard was quickly defeated by Dugong. And after Charizard's defeat, Lance's other Pokemon are even harder to resist when facing Lorelei's Ice-type Pokemon. The end of the battle. Lance, his most reliable partner, Dragonite, was also cornered by Lorelei's Blizzard tactic of continuous damage using Piloswine. Dragonite is still supporting, it's gathering Hyper Beam. It also wants to output combat. However, it finally fell down. Hosted in passionate commentary. However, as Dragonite's huge figure crashed to the ground, everything fell to the ground. Is this the end of the champion's journey across Elite? Unfortunately, Lance is already very strong. Even with the extreme disadvantage of attributes, he's still dragged to the last Pokemon of Lorelei Elite. If the order of challenges is changed, maybe he can really win the champion position. Dragon-type Pokemon is really strong, but Restrained is too ruthless. The physical disadvantage is too great. The wheel battle. Otherwise, Dragonite still has a chance. What a pity, just a little bit. Countless spectators sighed with embarrassment. Even those who support Lorelei have to admit. Lance passed the title of champion, but it was by no means weak. But a bit of luck. In the VIP room, Professor Oak, the two elites, and the leader of the Alliance, Demalinkai, shook their heads regretfully. Compared to the last challenge, Dew's strength has improved tremendously, but unfortunately it's still a little short. Granny Agatha said helplessly. However, Lance himself, who has been talked about by countless people, is not so bad. He just smiled relievedly and looked up at the sky. It's only a little bit, next time. I will definitely succeed. Dew thought silently, and suddenly, his eyeballs shrank. It seems to have seen something that surprised Lance. A red scratch divides the sky. No, it's not a scratch, but a huge meteorite, etc. Lance was in a cold sweat, because he found that the meteorite actually expanded more and more, as if the target of the fall was this arena. This elite, who was just at ease with the old god, was even blank in his mind in an instant. If the meteorite falls, take the number of people in the arena, there will be countless casualties. What exactly is this? Are there any meteorites about to fall from the sky? Is it the power of Pokemon? At this time, other people also noticed the vision in the sky, and tens of thousands of spectators in the arena raised their heads. But they obviously didn't realize the seriousness of the matter. But there was chaos in the VIP room. I can't sense what power is in that meteorite. Granny Agatha clutched her forehead, obviously in pain. As a ghost-type elite, she has a certain psychic ability, but when she touched the meteorite with her spirit, it was like being hit hard. This situation scared Professor Oak and the rest of the VIP seats for a while. Can't even touch an elite-level psychic? At this time, these top elites in the Kanto region, the presidents of the Alliance, and the most knowledgeable scholars in Pokemon are all showing extremely shocking expressions. What exactly is a meteorite? Asterisk. Chapter 2. Pokemon God List, the world shakes. However, at this time, they can't afford to think too much. Professor Oak and the two elites quickly realized one thing in horror. The meteorite is heading towards the champion arena on the Indigo Plateau. The audience outside the VIP room also gradually noticed this. The huge, red-colored stone expanded even more in sight, and it was even about to hit it straight ahead. In an instant, all the audience panicked. This meteorite was hit here. Hurry up and run. My God, the meteorite is about to hit. The speed is too fast. We are about to meet head-on. We can't leave. Countless people looked at the meteorite with expressions of fear and panic. Compared with other people on the field, Lorelei and Lance reacted quickly and shouted in unison. Everyone summoned Pokemon to attack together. Be sure to get rid of the meteorite in the air, otherwise no one can escape, according to their judgment. With the speed and size of the meteorite falling, once it falls, not to mention the trainers in this arena, the entire Indigo Plateau will be killed and injured countless times. Therefore, if you want to survive, you must stop the meteorite from falling. Yes, only the power of the Unova can survive. Blastoise, come out. Charizard, it's all up to you. Onyx. The champion arena was filled with the league's superior trainers. After hearing Watana and Lorelei's words, they woke up like a dream. They have released their own Pokemon. The rest of the tourists followed suit. In an instant, the arena that was already packed with spectators once again emerged with a huge number of Pokemon. Arcanine, Vileplume, Blastoise, Rosacea, Raichu. These Pokemon trainers shouted. Raichu, use 100,000 volts on the meteorite. Blastoise, use the hydro pump. Venusaur, use solar beam. The voices of countless people are like a tsunami. The other side. Lance took out the pieces of vitality from his pocket with some distress and fed them to a few Pokemons who had just lost their ability to fight. It's not that they are reluctant to take drugs, but this special prop that stimulates vitality will cause some damage to their Pokemon. But at this time, he had no choice. Dragonite, use Hyper Beam, Lance shouted, and Lorelei on the other side gave instructions to his Piloswine. Piloswine, use Sheer Cold. Not only Yulong outside the venue, but Professor Oak and others in the VIP room also sent their own Pokemon. Jengar, Shadow Ball. Agatha directed. Sawwarang, Kihi Bomb. Bruno shouted too. Charizard. With the issuance of one after another command, countless Pokemon's attack skills rushed towards the meteorite. Boom. These attacks are inherently powerful. Now they are gathered together like the ocean of Wangyang, and the terrifying power contained in them can be called destroying the sky and destroying the earth. Even the legendary mythical beast will be overshadowed by such an attack. Such a terrifying attack, this meteorite that is not particularly large should not be able to withstand it. Seeing the terrifying scene caused by everyone's actions together, Professor Oak and others also breathed a sigh of relief. However, in the next second, Professor Oak and the others showed expressions of extreme fear and anxiety. Even, they forgot to continue giving orders to Pokemon for a while. Not for the other. Just because the meteorite was not affected at all by the terrorist attack of the massive Pokemon. Those attacks were like mud cows entering the sea and were directly swallowed by meteorites. And it still landed on the arena at a terrifying speed. How is this possible? Our attack is completely useless? No. No, even a divine beast can't bear such a terrifying attack. Why does this meteorite have no effect at all? Are we going to die? It's over. Seeing this situation, all the trainers turned pale and full of despair. In any case, they never thought that the attack they jointly launched did not have any effect on the meteorite. At this time, it is too late to run, and what awaits them will be the huge impact of the meteorite falling. At that time, they have no hope of surviving at all. Buzzing. But, while all waiting for death to come, the huge meteor suddenly crossed the sky above the champion arena and stopped landing. Meteorite actually stopped? Actually, did it really stop? Great, now we don't have to die. Seeing this situation, everyone showed the ecstasy of the rest of their lives. They all thought they were dead, but they didn't expect this kind of change to happen. Look, everyone. There is text on the meteorite. While everyone was happy, the meteorite changed again. I saw the surface of the meteorite. A stream of golden energy gathered on the meteorite, and finally formed several simple and mysterious words. Pokemon God List. Seeing the text on the meteorite, everyone present was shocked. They obviously don't know those words, but the meaning they represent is clearly reflected in everyone's heart. Pokemon List? What is this? F***K. Why does the Pokemon list suddenly appear in my mind? What is the situation? What? You have one too? What the hell is going on here? Are we dreaming collectively? And even more frightening and unbelievable, not just the Kanto trainers present. At this time, Pokemon trainers all over the world, the pictures of the Pokemon God List are reflected in their minds. This situation makes those people unbelievable. Many of them thought they had encountered an illusion of a ghost-type Pokemon or a psychic Pokemon. Begin to communicate with other people, either terrified or curious. But I found that no one can escape the influence of Pokemon God List. Viridian City Gym. Giovanni had been gently communicating with a Pokemon covered in armor. Suddenly, his eyes changed. What's wrong? There seems to be a creature in the strange armor sending a message to him with his mind. However, Giovanni didn't respond. The man behind the scenes of Team Rockets in the Kanto region even showed an extremely serious and uneasy look for the first time. For some reason, he could suddenly see that a strange thing called Pokemon appeared in the void. I am under the protection of Mewtwo. To be able to do this unknowingly, what exactly is the Pokemon God List? Hone region, gorgeous competition arena. Wallace sat in the dressing room, gently wiping the scales of his Milotic. He was stunned for a moment, sensing a strange, floating meteorite that seemed to flicker somewhere. But even though the distance is incomparably far, you can easily observe it as long as you devote a little attention to it. Pokemon God List? Interesting. Wallace's eyes lit up, and for the first time outside of the glamour contest and Pokemon battle, he had a serious interest in something. Galar region. Leon was sitting in the car, thinking about the next commercial shoot. He was suddenly frightened by this so-called Pokemon list. Is that Indigo Plateau? Kanto region? It can be clearly transmitted to my mind. Leon was vaguely uneasy. He felt that the power of this god list was probably unusual. If it is really malicious, there will be a lot of trouble. Red Lotus Island. Blaine looked around at the surprised crowd. To spread the image from a long distance, this power is no less than that of a beast. Devon Corporation. Stephen puts down the evolutionary stone/ite he has. This meteorite. I really want to collect it. Unova region. N put down the myth book in his hand. Pokemon list? Spread to the world? I am afraid that such an effect cannot be achieved with Reshiram's power. Lieutenant Surge, Cynthia, Lotus Mist, Phoebe. At this time, countless powerhouses in the Pokemon world put down what they were doing and fell into a state of shock. Ordinary people may think that this is just an image, but the real powerhouse realizes it. The Pokemon God ranking, which allows everyone to sense their own existence indiscriminately, is extremely powerful. Even the mythical beasts in the legends of various regions probably do not have this kind of power. Not to mention the Indigo Plateau. At this time, the evolution of the Pokemon God list on the Indigo Plateau is still continuing, and countless complicated and mysterious characters appear in it. Although those scholars who study strange totems are unable to identify the text, but people all over the world have a unified perception of what the gods have conveyed. Pokemon God list, there will be a variety of lists. For example, the strongest Pokemon, the strongest trainer, or the most cherished item, the holder of the most divine beasts, the power of each type of Pokemon, and the leaderboard of the trainer. There's even a list of creatures with the best fishing skills. The strongest Pokemon after Million Evolution, Zmove's leaderboard. And the text also mentioned a point. Once you enter the leaderboard, you can get rewards from the origin of the universe. In an instant, the entire Pokemon world goes crazy again. In the beginning, countless people were frightened and scared, wondering what the origin of this Pokemon list was, because it's so weird. But now, many people are cheering. This is a gift from God to us. As long as you are on the list, you can get the reward from the origin of the universe. It is definitely a very common treasure. Yes, and there are so many types of lists, maybe we all have a chance to be selected. Although at this time, there are still many people who are skeptical about this so-called list of gods. But more people still choose to believe and look forward to being on the list. After all, there is no need to deceive people who can appear in the minds of people all over the world. Also, in anticipation of everyone, the first list of the Pokemon God list was generated impressively. Ranking of the strongest Dragon-type Pokemon trainers. Listing rules. Among all regions, the top 100 Dragon-type Pokemons that have been conquered in strength will be included in the list. Asterisk, you can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 3. The list is open. Amazing rewards. Smoke Ink Gym. Claire looked surprised. Dragon System. Leader. Then you don't have a chance. Congratulations, Leader. If you can successfully get on the list and get rewards, you will have a chance to hit the elite. Hoenn region. MT Drake stroked the corner of Bagon's mouth and smiled. Dragon ranking? It seems that my next main Pokemon may be cultivated earlier. Unova region. Shaka was stunned. Dragon system first? Yes, I want to see, how many places can I rank? It's actually a dragon. Great. I will definitely be on the list to get the reward. Dragon-type Pokemon trainers are rare. Maybe I can get a share of it. The reward of the origin of the universe? What is it like? Countless dragon trainers were excited and cheered. Many people even began to fantasize about being on the leaderboard, and their fame greatly increased. At the same time, getting the reward of the origin of the universe, the strength skyrocketed. Among the Indigo Plateau, Professor Oak and the other three elites also came to Lance. When they were defending against meteorites earlier, several of the VIP seats had already left the room. They looked at Lance's figure, even a little envious. Dragon trainer ranking? Isn't it a reward for Lance? Lorelei, who had just defeated Lance, was the first to speak. Congratulations, you must have a place in the Dragon trainer ranking list this time. If you get the so-called Cosmic Origin reward, fight again, you might be able to defeat me easily. Professor Oak and Alliance President Damalanki were also very happy. Shoudu, in this ranking of Dragon trainers, your main Pokemon should be at the top. Bruno also added. Dragon-type Pokemon itself is extremely rare. and the powerhouses in the world can count them with their fingers. Even if you are not at the top of the list, you are at least in the top few. When the time comes, it will be easy to hit the Kanto champion position again. Just on your way to the champions, the Pokemon list came. Maybe this is your chance. Agatha's mother-in-law smiled with relief. She was very optimistic about Lance's impact on the champion position from the beginning. She originally thought that after losing to Lorelei, the Kanto champion would be left empty. Who knew that the Pokemon God list brought a turnaround? Lance himself is naturally modest. Where? There is a dragon category now, and there should be a list of other attribute trainers in the future. Everyone has the opportunity to grow in strength. It may be even more difficult for me to get the champion position. Having said that, Lance also had a bit of confidence in his eyes. This time the dragon trainer rankings. Lance can't say that he will definitely be the top dragon trainer, but the top 5 should be no problem. At that time, when there is a reward item from the origin of the universe, he believes that the champion of the Kanto region will definitely win it. Xiaodu, your eyes can betray you. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Oak and the others laughed and joked a few words. In their opinion, although the dragon Pokemon rankings have not yet been released, the suspense has long been lost. Among the top dragon powerhouses, Lance must have a place. In the Kanto region, a long-lost region champion will be born. While everyone was talking on the other side, the Pokemon list above the champion arena changed again. The quaint and mysterious words condensed a brilliant golden light curtain. It completely covered the entire sky. In the bottom of the light curtain, words written by the world of Pokemon slowly appear. 100th place, Druddigan current trainer, Toru Gyute level strength, leader peak rank reward, quasi-elite qualification Dratini. The content is not long, but the entire Pokemon world exploded in an instant. The last place on the list actually has the strength of a leader? Saffron City, a young man who had been looking forward to watching the list, said in surprise. Leader is the pinnacle and is already considered an absolute powerhouse in the Pokemon world. A trainer's strength is determined by his strongest Pokemon. The Pokemon that most people accompany for a lifetime can only be regarded as a novice if calculated according to the combat power. Superior Pokemon are rare. As for the leader level above superior, it is basically only attainable by the top powerhouses in a city. As for the more advanced quasi-elite, elite, and champion levels, they can only be seen on TV. As expected of the strongest list covering the whole world, there is no simple person who can be on the list. Countless people watching the rankings were amazed. The selection of the Pokemon God list is really strict. Leader Peak is already a big boss, but he can only rank last in the rankings. However, compared to the conditions for being on the list, more people are shocked by this reward. My God, isn't this list reward too powerful? A Dratini, even the Yulong family wouldn't dare to say that one person has won. More than that, this is still a quasi-elite qualification. Doesn't that mean that as long as you get this Pokemon and nurture it carefully, you can have quasi-elite strength in the future? In the champion arena, many trainers were talking with envy on their faces. This level of Pokemon, it's still a dragon. Ordinary people don't even dare to think about it. With this level of Pokemon trainers, the future can be said to be very bright. At the same time, in the Yulong family, several elders are also stupid. Just getting on a leaderboard and getting a Dratini quasi-elite? This is too exaggerated. Even their family, famous for their dragon-type Pokemon, is only the heir to receive such treatment. Unexpectedly, the Pokemon God list will directly reward such Pokemon. And more people, especially those dragon trainers whose strength is higher than the peak level of leader. Crazy. There is such a reward for 100 people? It's too exaggerated. It stands to reason that the things given by the origin of the universe will become better and better, and even elite-level Pokemon are not impossible. It's developed. It's really developed. If I get on the list of gods, I will definitely increase my strength. At this time, above the mountains, outside the wilderness, in the city, countless dragon-type Pokemon trainers with red eyes put the matter at hand aside completely and stared desperately at the list announced by the Pokemon God ranking in the Sea of Consciousness. They even begged, even if they were just at the back. Quasi-elite Pokemon, priceless. And the trainers of the other attributes have an explosion of mentality, especially those trainers who are extremely powerful, but the main Pokemon are not dragons, but they beat their chests one by one. Why is the dragon ranking released in the first place? I also want Pokemon with quasi-elite qualifications. The rewards are too generous. I am afraid that this dragon trainer will dominate the alliance for a long time. Pokemon God list, Please hurry up to our steel system next. The strength of these trainers is quite impressive, but the rewards given by the so-called origin of the universe are still extremely shocking. Amazing. Below the arena, seeing the information on the leaderboard, Lance showed a thoughtful expression. Gutetsu? It should be a trainer from some little-known little place. He remembered the comments of a friend of Unova region. Druddigan? Dogs are not bred. Lance nodded, thinking silently. That is, the trainers in small places will be so tough. Asterisk. Chapter 4. Lance only ranked 30? Although there has been an uproar in the entire Pokemon world at this time, the Pokemon God ranking is still silent, solemnly updating the content of the rankings. With the outline of a few words, new content appeared impressively. 99th, Kingdra Trainer, Claire Level Strength, Leader Peak Ranking Reward, Quasi-Elite Qualification Dano, Hereditary Double-Edged Headbutt. Claire? Lance glanced at the leaderboard, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He remembered that child. A very hard worker. Able to get the 99th place in the Dragon Trainer. Presumably the development will be smoother in the future. Among the smoke and ink gym, Claire was even more ecstatic. This is the quasi-god Pokemon of the Unova region, and the powerful genetic skill of the double-edged head hammer. In this way, the Hydreigon strike surface is greatly supplemented. It's hard to imagine that just by advancing one ranking, the reward has increased so much. On the other hand, the names of trainers on the Pokemon God list have been announced. 98th, Duraludin Trainer, Lookie Level Strength, Leader Peak Rank Reward, Quasi-Elite Qualification Gibble, Type, Rough Skin. 97th, Garchomp Trainer, Kissery Level Strength, Leader Peak Ranking Reward, Quasi-Elite Qualification Dragalge plus Quasi-Elite Tyrant. 90th, Thunderbird Dragon Trainer, Lekvi Level Strength, Leader Peak Ranking Rewards, Quasi-Elite Qualification Gibble plus Quasi-Elite Qualification Noibat. 85th, Haxorus Trainer, Iris Level Strength, Leader Peak Ranking Rewards, Quasi-Elite Qualification Dratini plus Quasi-Elite Vibrava plus Breathing Belt. At this time, in Unova region, Iris and Sanjiang Jim pulled Shaka and shouted, "Did you see it? I'm on the list too. And the Breath Belt, I've been begging for it for a long time. Just for my Haxorus." The ranking of the Pokemon God list is displayed rapidly. 80th, Altaria Trainer, Drake Level Strength, Quasi-Elite Beginner Ranking Reward, Quasi-Elite Qualification Dano plus Quasi-Elite Qualification Aerodactyl plus Dragon Fong. After this ranking appeared, the heartbeats of countless people who were following the Pokemon God ranking were half a beat slower. Is this the Hoenn Region Elite? Only 80? No. It shouldn't be Drake Elite's ace, but the Pokemon of his second-tier team. But soon people realized something. That is, those Dragon-type champions and elites, I am afraid they are not going to get huge benefits. The Pokemon God ranking has to select the strongest 100 Dragon-type Pokemon, but those who specialize in Dragon-type powerhouses can even occupy several rankings. 75th, Dragapult Trainer, Kant Level Strength, Quasi-Elite Beginner Ranking Rewards, Quasi-Elite Qualification Altaria plus Quasi-Elite Qualification Flygon. 43rd, Salamence Trainer, Sagana Level Strength, Quasi-Elite Peak Rank Reward, Elite Qualification Bagon. When the leaderboard reached the 43rd place, the Pokemon world shook again in an instant. Although everyone knows that the higher the ranking of the Pokemon gods, the better the rewards. But there are really elite qualified Pokemon, still scaring everyone. This means that the winner can have an elite-level pinnacle Pokemon in the future. And Sagana was also stunned at this time. Looking at the Pokemon eggs gradually condensing in front of her eyes, she was surprised to the extent of dumbfounded. She sensed the strong life force in this egg and muttered, "Pokemon God list, so strong. Maybe its power can help me resist Meteorite's tackle." The girl is amazed. If there is such power, there is hope to save the home even if they don't go after Rayquaza. The strange numbers on the list of gods are flying. Soon another well-known figure in the Pokemon world appeared. Number 40, Lao Wonglong Trainer, Nightshade Level Strength, Quasi-Elite Advanced Ranking Rewards, Elite Qualification Dratini plus Move Machine, Dragon Rush plus Perfect Quality Dragon Scale. It's that dragon powerhouse from Alola region. Old Wonglong is not his main force either. Another elite-level character has appeared. The identity of Solanum Nigrum was instantly recognized. Countless people talked enviously. Afterwards, among the 30 or 40 or so rankings, there were many powerful trainers who were famous all over the world. 32 Kingdra, 37th Aerodactyl from Elite Drake of the Hoenn Region Dragon Series, Solanum Nigrum, Kalos Dragon Elite, Doricena also occupied several places. These elite powerhouses have suddenly occupied more than a dozen places on the list. Moreover, their main force has not yet appeared. This situation makes the powerful trainers of other attributes flail. It's not fair. It's too unfair. The moment these rewards are issued, the dragon element is instantly superior to the other elements. Yeah, these rewards are too powerful. How do we play without dragon Pokemon? Looking at this situation, for a long time to come, the dragon elite in the alliance will occupy a dominant position. It's not someone else who said these words. It's the gym leaders and elites of those alliances. Look at these amazing rewards. Even they are very envious. To know, these dragon-type elites have obtained several elite qualified Pokemons like wholesalers. As long as they are cultivated a little, the future will be extremely powerful. In addition, the exclusive move machine of the dragon type, as well as the dragon fong, dragon scale, and other props that are indispensable for cultivating the dragon-type Pokemon. Say without hesitation. In such an instant, these elites have obtained the heritage and wealth from the gods that are enough to build a powerful dragon family. How can this not make them envious? However, their thoughts did not affect the continued distribution of the god list. 30. Dragonite Trainer. Lance Level Strength. Elite Intermediate Ranking Reward. Elite Stone. Can turn Pokemon qualifications into elite qualifications, plus Shiny Stones. Can turn Pokemon into shiny Pokemon after use, greatly increasing the strength. When this text appeared, instantly, countless people in Indigo Plateau, Champion Arena exclaimed, "How is this possible? Mr. Lance's Dragonite can only be ranked 30th? Are there so many powerhouses in the Pokemon world? He is the champion of Johto, the strongest elite in Kanto, and this is the only ranking. Countless people can't believe it, even freaked out. Are there really so many hidden powerhouses?" On the contrary, Professor Oak and the other elites seemed rather calm. The Dragonites that can still suppress several Pokemons in Lorelei after the last round of wheel-turning battles just now, how could there be only elite intermediates? And some superior trainers in the audience understood the details and explained. This Dragonite is obviously a Pokemon of Mr. Dew's second echelon, and he is not the only Dragonite. Indeed, Dragon elites from other regions have been on the list several times, and it is normal for Duo Elite to have a non-main Dragonite on the list. That is to say, but the non-main Pokemon of the Elite have the strength of the intermediate level of the Elite, and they are indeed the super-strong existence known as the Royal Dragon Messenger. After hearing the explanation, everyone felt relieved about Lance's ranking, and after letting go, they were extremely envious of the reward the other party got. This reward is really going against the sky. Yeah, Elite Stone, Shiny Stone, such heaven-defying props that cannot exist in reality. I am afraid that only the original will of the universe can create it. Who said it wasn't? These two props alone will give the Elite a powerful Pokemon at the peak of the Elite in the near future. This reward is simply outrageous. Looking at the rewards Lance received, whether it was an ordinary trainer or those powerful trainers, they were all envious and jealous. Ha ha ha, Elite Stone, Shiny Stone. The list of gods is really extraordinary. As for Lance himself, he was even more excited to see the strange stone that suddenly appeared in his hand, not to mention the rankings announced later. Even this reward has already surprised him enough. This time you can make a lot of money. Yeah, with these two powerful items, you're adding another powerful Pokemon. Hey, this time the strength of the dragon trainers has greatly increased, and we must be challenged in the future. Look at the excited Lance. Agatha, Lorelei, and Bruno, the three elites, were sincerely happy for him, but they couldn't hide the depression in their eyes. Why didn't we develop a dragon-type Pokemon in the first place? Otherwise, I can also be listed and rewarded. Thinking like this, the three of them were a little helpless, and they could only hope that the list of Pokemon related to them would be released soon. Otherwise, as Alliance elites, they would probably be attacked by many dragon-type trainers. Asterisk. Chapter 5. The strong come out. Elite champions are on the list one after another. The other side. Changes to the Pokemon God list are continuing. Bizarre words also continue to shine. 29th. Strange Jaw Dragon Trainer. Artistry Level Strength. Elite Advanced Ranking Rewards. Elite Stone. Shiny Stone. Move Machine. Dragon Rush. 24th place. Soundwave Dragon Trainer. Reeves Level Strength. Elite Advanced Ranking Rewards. Elite Stone. Shiny Stone. Dragon Bloodstone. Strengthened when used by Dragon Pokemon. While the rankings are constantly being refreshed, the people of the Pokemon world have noticed again. From the 30th place reward, there has been a qualitative change. Prior to this, most of the Pokemon God list gave were Pokemon that needed to be cultivated. And now the rewards are items that can transform a Pokemon. The value of the two is incomparable, because many trainers, even Elite and even Champion, their initial Pokemon, or Pokemon with deep emotions captured early, are often not particularly good. This also means that as the strength of the trainers improves, these closest partners can no longer fight with them, and their strength can no longer keep up with the trainers. Originally, this problem was unsolved. As a result, many trainers can only watch painfully as their former best buddies take a backseat. But Pokemon God List can make Pokemon talents improve. Let the trainer's most affectionate partners return to the team. So in an instant, countless bosses couldn't sit still. They showed extreme surprise and shocking expressions one after another. At this time, it has been a while since the arrival of the gods. Naturally, these big figures have already confirmed the authenticity of the rewards of the gods. Viridian Gym. Giovanni was stunned, looking extremely unbelievable. He glanced at Persian, who was receiving his stroking beside him. If you can get elite stones, Persian may be even stronger. Giovanni is a little jealous of those dragon trainers now. Such a treasure. Giovanni knew that even with all the power of Team Rockets, it would be impossible to obtain such a treasure. But it was easily given by the Pokemon God list. Let this rebellious character raise a trace of awe and admiration in their hearts. Light Red Gym. Koga put down the poison he had prepared. He unleashed a smelly Grimer that looked old and tired, with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. The Pokemon God list actually has such power. If only I could have a few Dragon-type Pokemons. Get the Elite Stones for the stinky Grimer to use. Smelly Grimer's strength problem is solved. Maybe the poisonous decline can be restored. The Poison Elite looked at his original Pokemon and nearly cried with excitement. Koga's stinky Grimer, his first Pokemon, can't keep up with elite-level battles because of his aptitude. Even in a duel in the wild, the source was injured, the toxicity was greatly weakened, and it was already abolished. But the Elite Stone of the Pokemon God list can help Koga change the fate of the stinky Grimer. He is now extremely envious of those Dragon-type trainers. This situation is not unique. At this time, countless powerful trainers, watching their initial partners who couldn't keep up with the team, raised their incomparable covet for elite stones one after another. Soon, an order from Giovanni broke the peace of the Pokemon world. Team Rockets, do whatever it takes to buy an elite stone. You know, Lance is probably not short of money, and it is unlikely that he will sell such a precious treasure. But the top 30 of the Pokemon God list may not be willing to give up love. And Giovanni's approach also reminded many careerists. Whether it is Elite Stone or other previous rewards, it is not bound. They don't really have Dragon Pokemon, but they can snatch it from those who get rewards. It is with such an idea, all of a sudden, Team Magma, Plasma Core, and Pokemon Hunters started to operate. The entire Pokemon world has been touched by a ranking announced by the Pokemon God ranking, and the dark tide is surging. And these do not affect the announcement of the rankings. At this time, the ranking of the Pokemon God list has reached the level of the top 20. 20th place, Soundwave Dragon Trainer, Doricena Level Strength, Elite Peak Ranking Rewards, Champion Stone, Shiny Stone, Dragon Z-Spar. At this point, it's not just words. On the Pokemon list, a dragon-shaped creature resembling a bat appeared. It looks fierce. Its stature is even more huge, and it is obviously not a mortal thing. On the list of gods, every inch of Sonic Dragon's skin is extremely delicate, and every minion is shining with cold light. Even the Dragon-type power in this Pokemon makes everyone who pays attention to the God list clearly perceive it. This made countless trainers extremely shocked. This is tantamount to getting up close and personal with elite Pokemon. It turns out that Dragon-type Pokemon can be so powerful. My God, my Sonic Dragon and Elite are basically two types of Pokemon. The ability of the Pokemon God list is too exaggerated. I feel like Doricena Elite's Pokemon is by my side. Aware of this situation, countless trainers are talking about it. The reverence in everyone's heart for the power of the gods list has also deepened again. Sinnoh Region, Celestic Town. I didn't expect that the 20th ranking reward is actually a champion stone. Kalos Dragon Elite Doricena, who was returning to her hometown on vacation, looked at the three strange spar in her hand again, with a surprised expression on her face. Prior to this, several of her main Dragon-type Pokemon had also been on the list and received Elite Stone rewards. But compared to this rank 20 reward, it is undoubtedly a lot inferior. After all, the reward this time is the Champion Stone. a fetish that can create champion-level Pokemon. This reward, not to mention his elite, is also a great surprise for champion-level powerhouses. Besides, Dragon Z Pure Crystal, this mysterious treasure specializing in Alola region, Doricena has also heard of it. Very low yield. The outside world is almost impossible to get. This time, Karuni may not be able to sit still. Thinking of this, Doricena smiled slightly. She even felt that Absorb had finished this gain and promoted champion Sonic Dragon with Z moves. Get yourself a chance to meet Diantha, Kalo's current champion. However, after being happy for a while, Doricena suddenly realized something, and her face was extremely strange. My strongest ace, Pokemon, can only be ranked 20th? Asterisk. Chapter 6. Champion Limit, can't make it into the top 10? Doricena looked stunned. The major alliances in the world of Pokemon naturally communicate with each other early on. She is very clear that there are not many strong dragons specializing in dragons like herself. Among them, the elite level is already the top. The champions are Lance and Nightshade. Even if you add the ace dragon Pokemon of champions like Cynthia, I shouldn't be so behind. Doricena looked confused and puzzled. Helpless, she could only curiously follow the Pokemon list, wanting to see who is at the top. However, as soon as Doricena saw the picture of the 19th place, she was instantly dumbfounded. 19th, Strange Jaw Dragon Trainer, Diantha Level Strength, Champion Junior Ranking Rewards, Champion Stone plus Shiny Stone plus Draco Plate Replica, can make Dragon Pokemon break through the limit of racial value. On the top of the list of gods, a mighty dragon roared, and it was much stronger than the previous Sonic Dragon just by sight. At this time, Doricena looked at this scene and was shocked. Draco Plate? Is it a replica of the power of Arceus in Sinnoh myth? She is a native of Celestic Town, Sinnoh region, and she also knows something about the legendary beast that created the world. Then Doricena's mood became a little bitter again. Diantha's strange jaw dragon has broken through to champion level, and she got a Draco Plate replica. The gap between Diantha and me, I'm afraid it has widened again. This Dragon Elite is very clear that Diantha not only broke through the champion level, but also got more rewards than himself in the God list. In an instant, Doricena stopped thinking about competing with Kalo's champion. She is really helpless. The gap between the original and Diantha still has a chance to catch up, but Doricena feels that there is no way to surpass the advantage of a Draco Plate imitation with her own ability. The rewards of the Pokemon God list are too scary and outrageous. Lumio City, in the dessert shop. Diantha pulled his Gardevoir, looking dull. She was so surprised that she couldn't even speak for a while. Strangejaw isn't Diantha's ace Pokemon, but with this Draco Plate replica, I'm afraid it will soon be able to catch up in the footsteps of Diantha's ace Pokemon Gardevoir. You must know that it is extremely difficult for Pokemon to improve the strength of Pokemon above the champion level. Under normal circumstances, it may take more than 10 years to cultivate the strange Jaw Dragon to the same level as Gardevoir, and it may not be successful. And now it's only the 19th place in the Dragon Trainer ranking, which gives Diantha the opportunity to skyrocket the team's strength. Pokemon God List, it's amazing. She sighed that after receiving the ranking reward, Diantha was in a state of ecstasy for a long time. But after calm down, Diantha frowned again. My strange Jaw Dragon champion can only be ranked 19th in strength? You know, the Kalos champion was overjoyed when he learned that the Dragon Trainer leaderboard had appeared. The strength of his own monster Jaw Dragon has entered the champion level, and he is likely to get the top 10 in this leaderboard and get excellent rewards. How can this make her not happy? After all, the Pokemon world's major regions often communicate with each other. Diantha is well aware of the existence of powerful Dragon-type Pokemon in other regions. Drake, Nightshade, Lance. But no matter what, Diantha doesn't think that he is a champion-level monster Jaw Dragon. There are only 19. Immediately, she was extremely curious. Didn't expect that there are so many powerhouses hidden in the Pokemon world. However, it's not just Diantha and Doricena who are puzzled by what's next on the Pokemon list, but all the trainers who control the powerful Dragon-type Pokemon are all stunned. Number 18 on the Dragon ranking. The ace of the Hoenn region Dragon Elite Drake Salamence, Champion Junior. 17th, Kingdra of Hoenn region Champion Wallace, Champion Intermediate. The 16th place, Alola region Dragon Strongman Solanum, Kamoo, Champion Intermediate. The rewards they received were similar to Diantha's, both getting a replica of the Draco Plate with the power of the dragon, and some more champion and shiny stones. Obviously, the Pokemon of the top group of powerhouses have already entered the list one after another. However, Some people who really know the top of the Pokemon world and the champion elites themselves are vaguely confused and puzzled. Why? These champion-level Pokemon, only a dozen. The God list shows the appearance and power of the champion-level Pokemon again and again. At this time, nearly 90% of the population in the Pokemon world was completely attracted by this fetish. If it weren't for the appearance of the Pokemon God list, most people would never be able to see these powerful Pokemon in their entire lives. What's the matter? No one of us in Kanto is on the list? Those elite champions in other regions are starting to frantically brush their faces, and we are too miserable here. Don't panic, everyone. The main force of Lance Elite hasn't appeared yet, which shows that our strength is still stronger. In the Kanto region, many trainers are talking about it. After all, the Pokemon list is for the whole world. The Kanto region is known as the strongest region, but in the rankings, there are very few trainers on the list, which makes them really embarrassed. Fortunately, people in the Kanto region didn't have to wait long. The Pokemon God list has changed again. 13th, Kingdra Trainer, Lance Level Strength, Champion Senior Ranking Reward, Champion Stone *3 + Shiny Stone *3 + Draco Plate Replica *3. The reward for this top ranking is really rich. When Lance saw this, he nodded slightly, his eyes beaming with joy. With so many powerful rewards, he believes that after he digests the rewards and improves his strength, he will definitely succeed in challenging Region Champion again. Next, let's look at Dragonite. According to its strength, there is no problem with the top 10. It depends on the specific number. Lance's eyes flashed with confidence. As a genius descendant of the Yulong family, he dare not say anything about other Pokemons, but for the cultivation of Dragon-type Pokemons, he believes that he is no worse than anyone else. And his closest partner, Dragonite, has also reached the limit of strength. Even the mighty elite Pokemon and champion Pokemon are powerless against it. Therefore, he is very confident in his Dragonite. While he was thinking so, the leaderboard continued to be released. 12th, Garchomp Trainer, Cynthia Level Strength, Champion Peak Ranking Reward, Exceeding Stone. After use, Pokemon can break through to the Ultimate Beast level. Huh? That little girl Garchomp from Sinnoh region actually reached the pinnacle level of champion? Lance was a little surprised. He hadn't reacted yet. Then the screen flashes again. In an instant, Lance was stupid. 11th place, Dragonite Trainer, Lance Level Strength, Champion Limit Ranking Rewards, Exceeded Stone Plus Ending Stream God Beast Qualification Dratini. My Dragonite is only ranked 11th? Lance looked surprised and was shocked inside. He didn't expect that the Ace Dragonite, which has reached the limit of Pokemon, could not even enter the top 10? What kind of existence are the top 10 Pokemon? Kneeling for support. Asterisk. Chapter 7. Are the top 10 all divine beasts? At this time, the Pokemon God list is on top. A picture condensed. It was Lance's Dragonite. This champion-level Pokemon looks majestic, with sharp eyes and a strong physique. Even Dragonite's two cute little wings have a lot of muscles, showing domineering. At a glance, this Pokemon is extremely powerful. However, the people of the Pokemon world were also dumbfounded when they saw that such a powerful Dragonite was only 11th on the leaderboard. What a joke. This Dragonite should be Lance's trump card. How come there is only 11th place? Johto Champion, Kanto Elite, Lance's main dragon Pokemon can't even make the top 10? It's outrageous. Who are the top 10 people on this list? For a time, countless trainers were dumbfounded. Extremely shocking. This is not normal. Can there be a stronger dragon trainer than Lance? At this time, Sinnoh region. Cynthia combed Tokus's feathers thoughtfully. Not even Lance in the top 10? She also received a reward from the Pokemon God list just now, and she was very surprised and quite depressed. Her Garchomp is also a top dragon Pokemon. Originally, she thought she could rank well, but I didn't expect that it would only be ranked 12th in the Pokemon God list. And the famous dragon messenger Lance didn't even make it into the top 10. This made her very surprised. Elite and Champion have all been on the list, but the ranking list has not yet announced the top 10 strongest dragon trainers. That kind of existence, I am afraid it only exists in those ancient forces that have been passed down for countless years. Cynthia guessed in her heart. Those ancient forces are mysterious, but as a region champion, she knows something. In the Sinnoh region, there is an ancient heritage, such as the Aura Warriors. Presumably other regions will not have nothing. Among these ancient inheritances, it is likely that there are some very powerful Pokemons that have been passed down for thousands of years and have survived to the present. Their trainers no longer exist, but they may follow the descendants of their own trainers back then. Only the Pokemon of these ancient inheritors can overwhelm these elite champions and occupy the top 10 rankings on the God list. With that in mind, Cynthia felt that this should be the only explanation. At the same time, the Alola region, Nightshade sat in the Kanto Pavilion, watching Lance's ranking, and fell into contemplation. I thought that in the realm of dragon-based Pokemon, Lance should be at the forefront of everyone. As a result, on the Pokemon list, he can only rank 11th? The red-haired young man was amazed. Hoenn region, MT Drake frowned. Lance didn't even make the top 10? This dragon elite is a little shocked. He has seen the champion of Johto, and he is extremely powerful. Originally, Drake estimated that Lance was at least the top 5 among dragon trainers. Results ranked so low? Shaka from Sangyong Gym, Doricena from Celestic Town, Kalos champion Diantha. The top elite champions are all surprised and even shocked. Lance's Dragonite, who doesn't know? That is a powerful existence that convinces the top powerhouses of them, but actually ranked 11? And it's not just the champions who are wondering. The expression of Professor Oak, who was standing beside Lance, was also full of confusion. Lance only got 11th? It shouldn't be. Professor Oak was amazed at the contents of the Pokemon list. As a leader in the field of Pokemonology research, Professor Oak is known to have a wide range of friends and is familiar with some of the ancient families in the Pokemon world. There is no doubt that the Royal Dragon family is the #1 in the world in the cultivation of dragon Pokemon. And Lance is also the most talented junior in this family for hundreds of years. There is simply no one in the world who can surpass him in terms of dragons. This is the conclusion drawn by Professor Oak's vast experience. But the content on the list of gods completely denies this. It's not impossible if there are several people ranked above Lance, but there are 10 places, which is too exaggerated. If it weren't for the amazing performance of the previous Pokemon list, Professor Oak even suspects that the list is wrong. He is quite stunned and confused, and Lance himself gradually calmed down after being dumbfounded at first. Professor Oak, thank you for acknowledging me. The ability of the Pokemon God ranking is mysterious and unpredictable, should not be wrongly ranked. There must be a dragon-type Pokemon bred by 10 trainers that is better than my Dragonite, he said firmly. As the top powerhouse who almost became the double champion of the Kanto Johto region, Lance has his own ego. 11th place? If you lose, you lose. As for why it is said to be 10 trainers, it's also very simple. Lance judges that a dragon-type Pokemon that can exceed the champion's ultimate strength, no matter how powerful a person is to have one, it is already considered a person with a very strong level of cultivation and good luck. Like the previous situation where several Pokemons are listed at the same time by one person, there will never be in the top 10. At the same time, Lance was not discouraged. He didn't think he would be much different from the top characters in the Dragon Trainer ranking. Even if the top 10 Dragon-type Pokemons have broken through the Champions limit and the ability to rank among the 3rd-level mythical beasts, it is estimated to be the lowest level. I'm still young, and with the support of the Yulong family, I'll have a chance to catch up soon. Lance talks about it and looks very confident. For a moment, let alone Professor Oak, the 3 elites on the side were also stunned, and then a feeling of inferiority rose. He is indeed the strongest descendant of the Yulong family. If it was them, facing a possible 3rd-level mythical beast-level powerful opponent, it is very likely that they would not even have the mind to fight. But Lance dared to rise to the challenge. Lance, you can do it. Professor Oak also had a smile on his face, looking relieved. This is the future of Kanto. Lance's expression was extremely determined, and he once again cast his eyes on the Pokemon leaderboard above the champion arena. I want to see what kind of characters these top 10 are, can hold down Dragonite. At this time, in the Pokemon world, countless powerhouses also cast their attention on the gods list that is about to change again. Those Dragon-type elites and champions, as well as countless gym leaders, superior trainers, and even villains such as Team Rocket's Galaxy Core, looked at the upcoming 10th list with a look of extreme curiosity and anticipation. The previous news was too shocking. Lance is recognized as the strongest dragon in the world, and his ace, Champion's Ultimate Dragonite, is only 11th. Could it be that the 10th Pokemon on this list is at least a level 3 mythical beast? For a time, countless eyes converged on the list of gods. Finally, the Pokemon God list has changed again. Asterisk, you can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 8. Divine Beast? Fragments of the Law? Crazy Champion Elites. The golden text on the leaderboard is constantly twisted and finally presented. 10th place, Super Ancient Dragonite Trainer, Chen level Strength, 3rd level God Advanced Ranking Rewards, Dragon Law Fragments at the same time. The image of the Ultra Ancient Dragonite was also condensed. Is this the 10th Dragon-type Pokemon? It's too strong. It's like the Dragonite that crosses the elite. There's no way to compare it with this one. It's so strong. I feel like this is the most powerful Dragon-type Pokemon I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, compared to this Dragonite, Lance's Dragonite really doesn't compare to it. Seeing the image of the Super Ancient Dragonite, countless people were suffocated in an instant. What kind of huge, terrifying beast is this? The size of the Super Ancient Dragonite can be compared to the large lighthouses along the coast. This body shape alone gives people an extremely powerful and shocking feeling. Moreover, the powerful dragon origin power in the Ultra Ancient Dragonite is also fully manifested under the power of the gods. Even ordinary people can clearly sense it. The strength of this Pokemon far exceeds that of Lance's Dragonite. At this moment, they understood that Lance's Dragonite was ranked below it, and it was indeed not wrong. When shocked by the power of the Super Ancient Dragonite, everyone was also curious about its owner. Who is this Chen? How can he conquer such a powerful Pokemon? Yeah, the famous powerhouses announced in the Pokemon Alliance don't have this name. Could it be that Chen is a powerhouse who has been hiding himself? I guess this person must be a descendant of those ancient forces, otherwise it is absolutely impossible to conquer Pokemon at the level of divine beasts. It makes sense. Trainers from all over the world immediately started talking. Everyone was moved by the appearance of this mysterious Chen. But in such a big Pokemon world, there is really no one who can give the true identity of the other party. This situation made everyone curious about this Chen. The reward for the 10th place in the Pokemon God list is actually a fragment of the Dragon Law. At this time, not only those ordinary trainers, but also Lance, the strongest Dragon-type elite, was extremely shocked. He wasn't shocked that the Super Ancient Dragonite, a beast-level Pokemon, was on the list. After all, when his champion limit Dragonite ranked 11th, he was already mentally prepared that the 10th place might be a mythical beast. Therefore, when the divine beast really appeared, he was surprised, but not strong. What really surprised him was, the 10th place reward is actually a fragment of the law against the sky? To know, this is a fragment of the law, a god-defying artifact that can create a god. Although, the ultra-limited stone he obtained before also has the possibility of helping hand Pokemon to break through the divine beast, but it can only reach the 3rd level God realm at the highest. Compared with the strength of the Dragon-type law fragments, that is the difference between clouds and mud. If you can get the fetish such as Dragon Law fragments, Lance has absolute certainty that his Dragonite will break through the 3rd level God in the short term, and even in the future, it is not impossible to hit the 2nd level God or even higher. And he has that confidence because he and the other elite champions know a few secrets. In the past, these top powerhouses and many Pokemon professors have jointly studied the growth limit of Pokemon many times. Based on their many studies and discussions, they finally came to a conclusion. A Pokemon, just by strengthening and improving its strength, can reach the limit of a 3rd level God. But the 2nd level gods and the 1st level gods above, with normal battles and resource cultivation alone, it will never be possible. In order for Pokemon to reach that level, Pokemon must understand the laws of their own attributes. But is this easier said than done? In the field of law, it is mysterious and mysterious. It cannot be pondered. It cannot be speculated. If there is no chance against the sky, no matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, it will be difficult to get in touch. So far, there has been recorded content in history, and no trainer has really made the Pokemon in his hand understand the law. But the Pokemon God list gives the 10th place reward, but it can let a Dragon-type Pokemon directly obtain the Dragon-type law fragments. Once Absorb understands, it is no exaggeration to say. Even the shame of a dragon with low combat power like Druddigan can reach the sky in one step, and will expand his strength to the realm of a 3rd level god at a very fast speed. Even in the future, there is still the possibility of progress. However, it is such a heaven-defying law fragment, but it was given out as a reward for the 10th place on the god list. How could Lance not be shocked? Sinnoh region. Cynthia was also stunned, not even holding Togekiss for a long time without any movement. Shards of the Dragon Law? Is it actually given out as a reward? Her brain is buzzing, really scared. Cynthia's Garchomp, although still at the peak of champion, has a chance to break through the champion limit and even gradually cultivate it in the future to reach the realm of the 3rd level mythical beast. But those who really want to be promoted are stronger. Without such law fragments, there is no chance at all. The reward of the god list is really getting more and more exaggerated. Cynthia's indifferent face in the past was also full of covetous color at this time. Hoenn region, dragon-type elite drake, stood in the same place for a long time. God's list can actually give such a reward. Unfortunately, my strength is too weak to get it at all. Unova region, Kalos region, Alola region, Galar region. Many region champion elites were shocked by the appearance of the law fragments. And after the shock, there are all kinds of envy and hatred. After all, their ranking is not far from the 10th place. Among them, Lance is the most. Just one more. Lance has endless depression in his heart. His ranking reward is only 1 point away from the law reward. It's just a little bit, just a ranking. It's like a world of difference, making him miss the law fragments. Therefore, he is now very envious of this trainer named Chen. However, the strength of Chen, who can have a 3rd-level god-level Dragonite, is indeed better than mine. Although Lance envied the other party, he was also convinced of Chen's strength. By cultivating a Dragonite to the advanced level of a 3rd-level mythical beast, he will get a piece of the law, well-deserved. As for the identity of the other party, Lance didn't think much about it. He was nothing more than a hidden powerhouse. He guessed that this Chen probably got some ancient inheritance. However, Lance felt that something was wrong when he looked at the content of the leaderboard. Chen's Dragonite is already a 3rd-level god. Such strength is only ranked 10th. How strong should the top 9 trainers be? Lance thought about it and instantly showed a somewhat broken look. He originally thought that he was already second to none in the cultivation of Dragon-type Pokemon. Now the gods list gave him a slap in the face. There are many people who are stronger than his Lance, and it is far stronger. The last time is the level of the 3rd-level beast. And this idea also appeared in the hearts of other champions. The super ancient Dragonite, which is a 3rd-level god, is only ranked 10th. What kind of existence is further behind? The same is the 3rd-level god advanced? Or is it the peak of the 3rd-level god or even higher? At this moment, even the champions who overwhelmed Region 1 didn't dare to think about it any longer. Asterisk, you can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 9. 2nd-level Divine Beast, Chen again? Who is he? When they were thinking this way, a new ranking appeared on the top of the god ranking. And see this ranking. Everyone was immediately stunned. Look out. I saw 2 Pokemon figures appearing on the top of the god list. These 2 Pokemons are red and blue, and they have a jet-like shape. From the surface, it is impossible to even tell that they belong to Dragon-type Pokemon. Besides, compared with the tyrannical power displayed by the super ancient Dragonite, these 2 Pokemons are beautiful and full of warm and peaceful atmosphere. However, no one dares to underestimate them, because their rankings and displayed strength levels are far above the super ancient Dragonite. 9th, Latias, tied with 8th trainer. Chen level strength, secondary beast intermediate ranking reward, Dragon Law Fragments *2, 8th place, Latios trainer. Chen level strength, secondary beast intermediate ranking reward, Dragon Law Fragments *2. How is it possible? It's this Chen again. It's unbelievable. He actually conquered 3 Pokemon at the level of mythical beasts by himself? How did he do it? Unimaginable. Incredible. Terror is indeed horror, but I'm curious. What are these 2 so-called secondary gods Pokemon? Why have I never heard of it? It seems that we have never met. Do you know? I know a little about these 2 Pokemon. They are the legendary Pokemon of our Water City and the patron saint of our Water City. It turned out to be a legendary Pokemon. No wonder we never met. This Chen is so terrifying, even the legendary Pokemon can be subdued, and there are only 2 of them. It's simply terrible. At this moment, everyone was shocked. They never thought of it. Among the top 10 rankings, there are actually 3 Pokemons at the level of beasts that belong to the same person. And among them, there are 2 more legendary Pokemon. This was far beyond their expectations. 2nd-level god? The 8th and 9th ranked god is actually the 2nd-level god who has learned the power of law and the legend. Who is this Chen? How did he conquer the legendary Pokemon who realized the power of the law? Compared to those ordinary trainers, the hearts of elite champions from various regions were even more shocking. Ordinary trainers do not know what the concept of a 2nd-level god is, but they are very clear. It is precisely because they are clear that they are so shocked. To know. Most of the second-level gods who have understood the power of the law are taboo existences with responsibilities. Their every move will have a huge impact on a large region and even the entire world. Therefore, this existence must be extremely proud. Humans are no different from ants in their eyes. Even if some of these classes are willing to get close to humans, they will never easily become trainer Pokemon. But now, the truth is before their eyes. Not only are there two Pokemons that become trainers, but they also belong to the same trainer. This situation is beyond the imagination of these elite champions. They even doubt whether all this is true or not. In reality, does such a person really exist? Hoenn region. Champion Wallace looked at the information on the list of gods in deep thought. Just then, someone suddenly came to visit. How did you come? Wallace was a little surprised. It was none other than the former league champion Steven, who was obsessed with collecting stones. Next to him is his iconic Pokemon Metagross. At this time, the young master of the Devon Corporation looked serious. You should have seen it too. Number 9 and number 8 on the Pokemon leaderboard. Latios. I see. I really can't figure out how this Chen did it. As soon as he mentioned this, Wallace was in a trance, and the content on the leaderboard surprised him. Latios and Latias are supposed to guard Seoul Dew in the water capital. This Chen can actually get their approval? Steven also has a very unreal feeling. Latias, Latios, the patron saint of the water city, the symbol of the Hoenn region, the protagonist of countless Hoenn children's bedtime stories. It turned out that he had been subdued by a mysterious powerhouse named Chen. This made the two top experts in the Hoenn region extremely surprised and shocked. They were amazed at Chen's ability. Forget it, let's not talk about this. You were looking for me. You should want me to go to the water capital to verify it? Wallace suddenly reacted and asked Steven. The latter nodded sullenly. Yes, it stands to reason that the Pokemon list can't go wrong. Since it is shown that Latios and Latios were subdued by Chen, it is probably true. However, the Alliance still hopes that we can check to see what the situation of the two mythical beasts are. Okay, let's go now. After speaking, looking at the three mythical beasts displayed on the god list, Wallace sighed again. This Chen has 2 second-level divine beasts and 1 third-level divine beast, and his strength is enough to make people look up. I don't know what kind of terrifying guy exists above him. Hearing his emotion, Steven also nodded and said, It's really hard to imagine, and I have a bold speculation. Based on the current situation, I estimate that the top 7 Pokemon may be legendary Pokemon. Hearing Steven's guess, Wallace nodded in agreement and said, It's very possible. The legendary Pokemon that can overcome the power of comprehension of the law. I am afraid there is only the existence of the same legendary Pokemon, and the one who can conquer this legendary Pokemon. Except for this Chen, I haven't. When he said this, Wallace suddenly stopped. An extremely frightening thought suddenly popped up in his mind. Big. Steven, do you think it's possible that those Pokemons in the top 7 are? This Pokemon named Chen? Wallace looked at Steven dumbly and said something that even he couldn't believe. No. Impossible? Those Pokemons in the top 7 are existences above the legendary Pokemons. They may all be more advanced legendary existences, that Chen. Hearing Wallace's guess, Steven was instantly shocked and instinctively wanted to refute. After all, in his mind, the higher-ranked Pokemons are more likely to exist than the legends of Latios and Latios. And this legendary Pokemon, which comprehends the power of the law, is impossible for ordinary people to conquer. This Chen can conquer 2 legendary Pokemon. It is rare in the world. How can it be possible to conquer more? But the more Steven thought about it, the less confident he became. Because it is the legend that Pokemon cannot be conquered by normal people, and this possibility is even higher. After all, this mysterious powerhouse named Chen has already conquered 2 legendary Pokemon, fully proving that he has this ability. And since it is so, why doesn't he have the possibility to capture more legendary Pokemon? 3, 4, 5, even the existence of the top 7 in the rankings? Thinking of this, Steven and Wallace looked at each other, and both felt their scalps go numb. They hadn't thought about it before. But now, the more they think about it, the more afraid, and the more they think about it, the more likely it is. Hopefully we were wrong. Finally, Steven took a deep breath and said solemnly, Hope. If such a person really exists, then I really don't know if it's good or bad for this world. Wallace nodded with a complicated expression. Afterwards, the two prepared to go to the water capital with trepidation. But at this time, there was another change in the rankings. P.S. The seedlings of the new book need your great support. Once again, I beg for flowers, I beg for evaluation tickets, I beg for rewards, and I beg for collections *. Chapter 10. Is it the first on the list of gods? In sight, I saw a huge, pitch-black Pokemon covered in electric light appearing on the list of gods, and after it appeared, several Pokemon figures appeared one after another. 7th place, Zekrom level strength, 1st level god advanced trainer. Chen. 6th place, Reshiram level strength, 1st level god advanced trainer. Chen. 5th place, Kyurem level strength, 1st level god advanced trainer. Chen. Zekrom, Reshiram, Kyurem. These 3 dragon-type spirits, whose strength has reached the 1st level god level, just appearing on the god list, make countless trainers feel the great power. Even many less powerful trainers dare not look directly at their figures, for fear of being shocked by the power they exude. Zekrom, Reshiram, Kyurem. Isn't this the legendary Pokemon that the Unova region is also known as the 3 Dragons of the Tao, and they were actually conquered? What is the origin of this Chen? How did he do it? Kanto region. In the VIP room in the Champion Arena, Professor Oak was horrified. Even with his knowledge and wisdom, he couldn't figure out how this trainer named Chen conquered such a legendary Pokemon. It's not something that humans can do at all. Beside him, Lance also sighed helplessly. In the beginning, when I saw the ultra-ancient Dragonite, I thought I might not be too far from that Chen. Looking now, how can I be compared with this one? At this time, the elite, who has always been known as the strongest Imperial Dragon Envoy, was hit hard enough. He realized that the difference in strength between himself and Chen was like a moat, insurmountable. To say who was least surprised by this Chen's reappearance, it would be Steven and Wallace. Steven, it looks like our guess was right. Wallace looked at Steven seriously. This is the end of the matter. There is nothing to say. The most urgent thing is to go to the water and find out. As for the rankings, we'll talk about it after everything is confirmed. After Steven finished speaking, he and Wallace set off for the water capital. At the same time, Unova region, the headquarters of the Galaxy Group. En put down the mythology reader in his hand, and Junyi's face was full of helplessness. No wonder Reshiram has been reluctant to be my partner. So, does it already have its own trainer? His eyes were a little dim, obviously not in a good mood. For a long time, he wanted to create a world where Pokemon were not oppressed and could coexist perfectly with humans. To this end, under the induction of the Plasma Group and his own efforts, he successfully came into contact with the legend Pokemon Reshiram, which symbolizes the ideal. And the legendary dragon driving the pure white fire also responded to En and approved his idea. But Reshiram is limited to using his own power, helping hand. He creates a world where Pokemon and humans coexist. But he was reluctant to officially become En's partner. Originally, En thought that his ideals were not firm enough, and his actions were not enough. Now he knows. Reshiram is reluctant because it already has people who really recognize and follow. It seems that it is impossible to conquer Lexi Ram. Thinking of this, En can only shake his head and put out the idea of wanting to subdue Reshiram. Legend has it that once a Pokemon approves to follow someone, it will never change for life. So even if I was as firm as En, I gave up the idea of conquering. At least, Reshiram is also willing to helping hand him. That's enough. Being able to conquer Zekrom, Reshiram, and Kyurem at the same time. This Mr. Chen must be a great man with noble aspirations? En muttered to himself with a longing look, with great respect in his tone. Because only he knows best. The 3 dragons of the Tao in the Unova region are by no means a Pokemon that can be conquered by force. Think of conquering them. Only those who are recognized can do it. Therefore, En has great respect for Mr. Chen, whose ability and ideals are far beyond his own. I have never heard of Mr. Chen's deeds and name before, and Lexi Ram has never said that there is such a great trainer. I don't know. Where is this legendary figure now? If I can communicate with him, maybe I can understand the coexistence of humans and Pokemon. How to go? En's heart thought so. Also at this time, the new ranking on the Pokemon God list has been announced. 4th place, Palkia level strength, the pinnacle of 1st level gods trainer. Chen on the top of the list of gods, dragons, and beasts with noble purple patterns all over their bodies, showing their appearance in the turbulent space. Even if it's just an illusion, people seem to see black cracks when they watch it. 3rd place, Dialga level strength, the pinnacle of 1st level gods trainer. Chen. Then there's the sapphire blue diamond-like Pokemon, whose backdrop is eerily eccentric and presents countless fragments of history. Second place, Giratina Level Strength, the pinnacle of first-level God's trainer. Chen? In the end, it was a giant beast dressed in white gold with spectacular bone wings, traveling through a world where everything was upside down. Countless people watching the list of gods were momentarily blank, and they were stunned by the illusion. Only those champion and elite level powerhouses can wake up immediately, but their astonish is even greater. In Celestic Town, Doricena burst into tears. This is the Palkia, the Dialga I've been searching for my whole life. They were all subdued by this mysterious powerhouse Chen. On the other hand, Cynthia's thoughts in her mind were extremely chaotic. The Pokemon from our Sinnoh mythology has also appeared, and Chen is their trainer? This young champion feels that his 3 views have been reshaped. This news is really amazing. However, when the strong people looked dazed one by one, ordinary people have yet to break free from the phantom coercion of the divine beast that was in charge of time, space, and reverse world. The leaderboard is updated again. The first place on the list of gods also jumped to the top at this time. P.S. The younger brother is relatively slow. I have just completed the 10 chapters of the task. It is too difficult. So here again I beg all readers to support me a lot. Flowers, evaluation tickets, collections, rewards, even a comment in the comment area are the greatest support. Asterisk. Chapter 11. Creation Level Rayquaza. First place, Colorful Rayquaza Strength, Quasi-Creation God Trainer. Chen Reward, Draco Plate, contains complete Dragon Law, can speed up the comprehension speed of Law after carrying, completely immune to the damage of Dragon Law. On the Pokemon God list, a flying dragon shining with colorful rays of light stands proudly, and the whole body gathers bright rays of light. Unlike the legendary Rayquaza in the Hoenn region, who has a slender green body, the scales of this Pokemon are gathered with prestige. Even the space in the colorful Rayquaza background is distorted by the mighty power. At this point, there was a moment of silence in the Pokemon world. The God list also simulates the energy and power in the colorful Rayquaza body. The coercion of the quasi-creation God level. Even those elite and champion level characters are completely disturbed by the shocking thinking. Almost at the same time, people all over the world were petrified. After a while, someone slowly recovered. Colorful Rayquaza. What's this about? This Pokemon doesn't even exist in mythology. The final ranking was actually occupied by that mysterious Chen. My god, his strength is too exaggerated. Quasi-creation God level? What is the concept? Does it really have the ability to create the world? The entire top 10 rankings are all Chen. There are still such powerful characters hidden in the Pokemon world. Kanto region, Johto region, Hoenn region, Unova region. All of a sudden, everyone was brought to astonish by the content on the God list. The name Chen has also been praised wildly by people. What kind of trainer can be so exaggerated? With the 10 Dragon-type Pokemon under Chen, it is not difficult to destroy the whole world. Compared to that, the Pokemon League looks weak and pitiful. After the Pokemon God list released all the rankings of the strongest dragon trainers, it fell into silence for a short time. At this time, in the champion arena below the list of gods, countless spectators were still shocked by the power of the colorful Rayquaza. In the Kanto League on the other side, Professor Oak, Lance, Alliance President Demelange, and the 3 elites walked into a conference room inside the arena with serious faces. After confirming that all the legendary Pokemon on the God list belong to one person, Damarachi, the president of the Alliance, has decided to hold the largest meeting of the World Alliance. Soon, all the staff in the conference room were cleared out, and Professor Oak himself turned on the screen projection equipment. After a while, the big screen in the conference room lights up. One after another, avatars appeared on the screen. At this time, if any staff member accidentally breaks in, it is estimated that they will be stunned by the sight in front of them, only seen on the projected screen. It brings together elite and champion characters from major regions such as Lance, Wallace, Cynthia, etc., and Professor Oak, Mikasa Professor, Birch Professor, and many other top Pokemon professors. Any of these people are the top figures in the major region alliances, now gathered together just because of one person. This person is the superpower Chen, who occupied the top 10 of the gods list and conquered many legendary Pokemons. In the face of this level of existence, even a behemoth like the Pokemon Alliance would not dare to be sloppy. I think everyone should have discovered something. The strength of that colorful Rayquaza, according to the god list, is a quasi-creation god level. This is a mega field that we haven't touched in our research. Dame Allen looked at the familiar figures in the video conference, without any politeness or greeting, but directly asked a sharp question. As soon as these words came out, many champion elites in the video conference looked solemn. Chen is strong. They know it. But more importantly, they don't know anything about this powerful man who is enough to destroy the world. The character of the other party, the person of the other party, the way the other party behaves, etc. All this is a mystery. This situation makes these alliance executives who are in charge of each region very uneasy. Just as the video conference fell into a brief silence, Alliance President Damalanchi spoke again and raised a question that everyone has been worrying about. This mysterious Mr. Chen is so powerful. How should we deal with him? No one replied. Logically speaking, this problem is not difficult. For some strong people, the Pokemon Alliance has never been stingy with money and wealth and resources to cultivate Pokemon to win over. But this strong man who shocked the whole world will lack these things? There are not many resources that we can use to attract such a peerless powerhouse. Steven said sharply. I can't say the same. Maybe we can use the human advantage of the Pokemon Alliance. Collecting what he wants for that Mr. Chen is also an idea. Unova Region Champion Alder has a suggestion. Yeah, if Mr. Chen has friends and family, he can also start from this aspect. Ghost-type Elite Agatha also thought about it. With the submission of opinions one by one, immediately, the atmosphere of the video conference became high, and more high-level officials participated in the discussion, thinking about how to make friends with the mysterious powerhouse Chen. But just as the discussion in the video conference intensified, Lance suddenly gave a wry smile. The method you mentioned may be effective, but it has to be viewed by others. That Mr. Chen's strength is beyond the imagination of the world, and he can't get what he wants. To put it in despair, although our alliance is in charge of the order of the world, we have nothing to do with him. Asterisk. Chapter 12. Recommend to become the League's overall champion. In an instant, all the top leaders of the alliance were silent. Can't hold back a word. It's not that what Lance said is wrong, it's just too right. Completely correct. It even gave these high-level and top powerhouses of the alliance a strong sense of powerlessness. Such a level of power. They don't make any difference at all. Later, in the video conference, Unova Region Champion Alder looked even more desperate and pessimistic. And thinking about it badly, if that Chen wants to destroy the world, we can't do anything. Immediately afterward, the former champion of Galar Region, Mastid, also had a solemn tone. We don't know the character and temper of this mysterious powerhouse at all now. Those organizations such as Team Rockets and Galaxy Group can also see the content recorded on the God list. What if they talk about Mr. Chen? If Mr. Chen wants to rule the world or destroy the Alliance, we can't do anything about it. In a few words, the atmosphere in the video conference is already gloomy and dull. The people present were all the top figures in the Pokemon world, and their words and deeds could inspire earthquakes in all regions. But at this time they were all worried because of Chen's unknown attitude. I even feel hopeless and powerless. Until Wallace hesitated to break the silence. I think our worries now may not be too necessary, right? The Hoenn Region Champion is relatively optimistic. The Latias and Latios captured by Mr. Chen are the legendary Pokemon known for their guardian heart. Trainers who can get their approval should not be evil-hearted people. It's hard for Wallace to imagine the ambition to rule the world for a character that the patron saint of the Water City is willing to serve. Seeing this, Cynthia also shines. Yes, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, these Pokemon are also gods who maintain time, space, and reverse world. The trainer they choose should also be someone who is willing to protect the order of the world. In the legends of the Sinnoh region, the three mythical beasts who were given life by the god of creation are not gentle, but they will perform their duties staunchly. How can someone with a bad mind have the chance to subdue Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina? And the powerhouses of Unova region are waking up like a dream. Super Elite Catlia said like a treasure. Reshiram, Zekrom are legendary Pokemon that only follow heroes. Symbols reality and ideal respectively. Chen can make them follow. The only explanation is that he is an extremely pure and noble person. And it's also extremely persevering in mind. It has both the ability to change the world for a better place and a lofty ideal. The eldest lady who came from a famous family was talking. Not only did she have no previous worries, but her eyes lit up slightly, and she was full of curiosity and yearning for that mysterious Chen. That must be an amazing person. Catlia thought longingly. She had heard the legend of Sanjiang since she was a child. And Yi Chen, who can be recognized by Reshiram and Zekrom, must be the hero that Unova region is looking for. The powerhouses in the video conference were stunned for a moment, and then they immediately felt that the ideas of the local people from the three regions of Hoenn, Sinnoh, and Unova were quite reasonable. I think Miss Catlia's analysis is correct. The probability that Mr. Yi Chen is a kind-hearted person is much higher, Professor Birch said seriously. Then the responders gathered. The divine beast that symbolizes guardianship, the divine beast that symbolizes order, and the heroic beast that changes the world. If all the three legendary Pokemon follow one person, we still have to doubt Mr. Yi Chen's character. Isn't that ridiculous? The leader of the alliance, Damalanki, was even more excited. Maybe there are some vicious and greedy people among humans, but Pokemon is the most pure and flawless creature. People who can be recognized by them must have extremely high aspirations, and their hearts must be extremely clear. Professor Oak also hesitated, and even a smile appeared on his face. Then think about it carefully. It's a good thing that Mr. Yi Chen was exposed by the God List. At least his existence can deter many underground organizations that are just around the corner. Yeah, we should trust the eyes of legendary Pokemon. Maybe the reason why we don't know Mr. Yi Chen's existence is because he has been silently guarding our world. The elites and champions from each region in the video conference spoke in succession, and basically all agreed that Mr. Yi Chen is a kind-hearted person. Even everyone is overjoyed. You must know that underground organizations like Team Rocket's Team Magma have made a lot of big noises, and they have even woken up mythical beasts and caused charred deeds. With such a Mr. Yi Chen hiding behind the scenes as a guarantee, the entire Pokemon world will be much safer. However, it is confirmed that Mr. Yi Chen is a good person. What shall we do now? Lance suddenly asked a question in the video conference. Yi Chen, the mysterious powerhouse, has extremely terrifying strength, to the extent that he cannot even match the strength of the superior alliance. If he did evil, the whole world would be powerless to resist, and he could only bow down and beg for mercy. But if the other party is a good person, there is still no way for me to influence the other party. Just pretend that Mr. Yi Chen doesn't exist? Since he hides himself, maybe he doesn't want to be disturbed? Hoenn Champion Wallace spoke tentatively. However, the head of the alliance, Damalanki, put forward the opposite opinion. No, I propose to send someone to find Mr. Yi Chen now and elect him to be the overall champion of each region of the Pokemon League. Lead all regions. This is the most basic respect for this mysterious powerhouse. Furthermore, if Mr. Yi Chen is willing to lead us, he is also lucky for the Pokemon Alliance. He directly initiated a vote of action, whether he was willing to find Mr. Yi Chen and accept his leadership. In just an instant, the video conference was unanimously approved. The champions and elites of each region are very clear, and what Damalan said is completely true. Yi Chen's strength and the state of mind of being recognized by the legendary Pokemon are more than enough to lead the entire alliance. Even if this mysterious powerhouse is really willing to accept the title of champion, he can make his strength skyrocket with just a few pointers. This is a mega boss who has cultivated a quasi-creation god level. These top powerhouses in the Pokemon world even fell into reverie. How lucky they would be if they got to know Mr. Yi Chen. Asterisk. Chapter 13. The Legendary Dragon Envoy? However, it wasn't just those in the Pokemon Alliance who were determined to find Yi Chen's trail. At this time, the dark side of the world also began to move. Viridian Gym, Giovanni commanded in a deep voice to Archer and Athena, who were kneeling in front of him. Now immediately mobilize everyone to search for the trace of Yi Chen, the number one in the god list. First try to please him as much as possible. I allow you to mobilize all resources.
Yes, as ordered.
The two Team Rocket's cadres simply took over the task, each with extremely serious and solemn faces. They also watched the list of gods and knew that Yi Chen was probably the strongest trainer in the world. Archer and Athena understand that this action is extremely important, and Giovanni also gave them all the resources of Team Rockets. The level of attention is also the highest ever. Watching the two high-level executives gradually drift away, Giovanni, on the other hand, looked confidently at Mewtwo hidden in the armor. It's up to you after that. As long as you get in close contact with Yi Chen, you immediately hypnotize him and make him surrender to me. He was extremely excited. After seeing the description of the strength of Yi Chen's Pokemon on the god list, the leader of Team Rockets was also really frightened. The quasi-created god-level combat power can easily defeat his ace Mewtwo. But Giovanni, after all, was a hero of his generation, after a brief restlessness. Soon he felt keenly that maybe this was an opportunity. According to Giovanni, Chen controls so many legendary Pokemon, but the main body is just a human. If you catch a flaw yourself, you will have the opportunity to capture it. After that, Team Rockets can easily dominate the world. However, although Giovanni felt that his plan was flawless, there was an inexplicable fear and anxiety in his heart. It made him sweat unknowingly, as if he was making some wrong decision. Unova region, the headquarters of the Plasma Corps. Koichisi looked at In, who was kneeling beside him respectfully in the study, and said slowly, "You should have seen the content on the list of gods. Our Unova region's 3 dragons of Tao was actually subdued by a mysterious person named Chen." Koichisi had a surprised expression, and then he made a fake smile. Mr. Chen must be a great person to be recognized by Zekrom Lacey Ram. In, don't worry about these things at hand now. Find that Mr. Chen and the coexistence of Pokemon and humans can be achieved earlier. Really, can I go? In looks extremely surprised. In his opinion, Mr. Chen is able to subdue Reshiram, Zekrom, and even Kyurem, who is said to hate humans. Surely this is a person with lofty ideals and the ability to change reality. In was extremely fascinated by this person before. He is naturally willing to accept Koichisi's assignment. And Koichisi looked at In with a sneer in his heart. His idea is simple. To rule the Unova region, he must gain the power of Kyurem. If the other members of the Plasma Group were to find Chen, the hero recognized by the 3 dragons of Tao, Koichisi felt like he was going to die. Only In is really kind-hearted. Even Reshiram approves. With the help of In and Chen's good relationship, I may have a chance to win the 3 dragons of the Tao. Only, for this plan without any risk, Koichisi felt an inexplicable chill. It's as if something is staring at it, feeling hairy all over. Hone region, Team Magma, Water Fleet, Sinnoh region, Galactic Cluster. One by one, the underground forces sent their subordinates to look for the existence of Chen. Their ideas are also strikingly similar. Now, the best way to satisfy their ambitions is to have a good relationship with this mysterious powerhouse first. Then there is a chance to control Chen, or wait for an opportunity to take his legendary Pokemon. Once successful, it is easy to control the world. When these forces were dispatched, the entire Pokemon world suddenly surged. But, at a time when other elite champions in the Pokemon League were also looking for Chen, Lance did not search the world, but drove Dragonite back to the family residence of the Yulong family. Mr. Chen has conquered so many Dragon Legend Pokemon. The Ace's colorful Rayquaza is also a dragon. Obviously, like our Yulong family, he is a trainer specializing in dragons. Maybe there will be some clues about this powerhouse within the clan. While thinking, Lance walked quickly to the family library. In addition to various dragon-type Pokemon materials and training methods, the library of the Royal Dragon family also has the most complete information on dragon-type trainers. If there is a place in the world where information about Chen is most likely to be found, this is it. However, he rummaged through those ancient books, but found nothing. Lance, if you're looking for information about that Chen, I know a little bit. At this moment, a voice sounded behind Lance, and the person who came was Yulong Pendant, an elder of the Yulong family. The elder also saw the picture in the previous god list, so it was easy to guess the purpose of Lance's return. Elder Fallen, do you really know? Lance looked at the other party in surprise and said. Hearing this, Yulongzui nodded and said slowly, if it weren't for the fact that the top 10 on the god list were occupied by the trainer named Chen, I really can't remember this story. It was my grandfather who told me that. The elder's tone seemed a little nostalgic and low. He didn't give a shit and started telling the story directly. It is said that it was still in ancient times, and Sinnoh should not exist at that time. People in ancient times called it the Shitsue region. Shitsue? Lance was a little curious. He felt as if he had heard the name. That's right, people in Shitsue have passed down the story of a dragon envoy. It is said that all dragon-type Pokemon will easily surrender to him, including the legendary Pokemon. Yulongpin opened his mouth to spit out a shocking news. Asterisk. Chapter 14. Ancient Secret Fortune. Dragon Envoy? Lance chewed the name in his mouth, feeling an inexplicable emotion in his heart. Incarnation of the Dragon God? The Messenger of the Dragon God? What an extraordinary title. There are many deeds of the Dragon God Envoy. It is said that in the Shitsue region, Dialga and Palkia had a great battle, and in the void in the upside-down world, the Dragon Envoy controls Giratina, instantly quelling the anger of the god of space and time. Even, Dialga and Perukia chose to follow the messenger after the battle to bring blessings to the land of Shitsue. While talking, Yulongpin crossed Lance and rummaged through a dilapidated bookshelf in the corner of the library and found a few quaint scrolls. Spread it out, it is a wonderful picture. Above the sky, the dragon of Sharon soars recklessly, standing in the middle of the gods of time and space, and it seems to be howling mournfully. And above Giratina's white gold crown, a vague figure stood proudly, making a weird gesture. The scrolls in the back are Dialga and Pelukia, retreating and surrendering in an instant. Just a gesture to stop the subduing of the two gods? This should be just a legend, right? Lance's face is full of disbelief. The royal dragon pendant was noncommittal, just spread out the last scroll. It is still the figure of the dragon angel, but he is standing on top of a Pokemon that looks like Rayquaza. The weird thing is that there is a halo-like pattern around this mythical beast, which makes people feel unclear. In addition to the Pokemon that looks like Rayquaza, there are one after another of the legendary dragon-type Pokemon, all of them kneeling down, throwing their 5 bodies towards the dragon god. Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, Latios, Latias, nearly exhausted dragon-type beasts in the Pokemon world. Together they worship the one and only sovereign. Not real. The dragon god envoy is real. Yulong Pendant looked into Lance's eyes, word for word. Our royal dragon family exists because of the blessing of the dragon envoy. He awakened us to the ability to control dragon Pokemon, and our ancestors saw with their own eyes the scenes of countless dragon-type divine beasts surrendering to divine envoys, and they left the picture scroll we see now. In an instant, the shocking news made Lance dumbfounded. Too much information. He felt like his brain was shut down. Dragon God Envoy exists. Dragon Angel can really control all dragon Pokemon. The Yulong family was also created by the blessing of the Dragon Envoy. Oh my god. Lance feels like this is the first time she has been scared like this since she was a child. What kind of dragon family is the master of the dragon-type Pokemon? It can only be regarded as the servant of the Dragon God Envoy, and the so-called strongest dragon trainer in history, compared with that Dragon God Envoy, is as small as dust. Yulongpin looked at the younger generation in a daze, waited for a while, and said meaningfully, "The reason why our Yulong family wants to keep the bloodline pure is for the blessing of the Dragon Envoy. Remember, today's secret blessing must not be told to others." If it wasn't for the appearance of Yi Chun in the list of gods, he didn't plan to reveal the family's secrets at all. Seeing the elder's words, although Lance's mind was still a little pale, he immediately reacted and nodded yes. "Of course, I'm not stupid. How can you talk nonsense about these things?" And Lance was stunned, as if he had thought of something. "Elder, do you mean that this Yi Chun is the Dragon God Envoy?" His lips were dry, his throat was sweet, and he was extremely nervous, feeling as if he was about to reveal a big secret. Yulongpin looked at the picture scroll he took out earlier and just shook his head. "My first reaction was the same as yours. Reshiram and Zekrom were supposed to be the incarnation of the conflict between reality and ideals, and they were conquered together. Who else is there except the legendary Dragon Angel? However, Shitsue region, that was thousands of years ago, right?" The elder sighed. "Dragon gods are also human, and their lifespan is limited, and it is impossible to live to the present." Lance nodded, feeling like he had just gotten too excited. That Yi Chun is so amazing. Could it be that he is the new Dragon Envoy? Still got the inheritance of the Dragon God Envoy? The Dragon Elite guessed. "I think it might be the latter." Yulong Pendant thought. Does the Dragon God really exist? There is no such legendary Pokemon. It's said to be the messenger of the Dragon God, but from what I see, the world-shattering figure thousands of years ago, most of them rely on their own abilities to convince the Dragon-type Pokemon. Therefore, Yi Chun, who ranks first on the list of the strongest dragon trainers and swept the top 10, has a higher probability of getting the inheritance of that legendary figure. The elder's analysis is eloquent. Lance followed thoughtfully. Indeed, such an explanation is perfect. Yi Chun's unknown reasons are also reasonable. He got the inheritance, and the process of conquering the Dragon Legend Pokemon went extremely smoothly. There will be no fighting and destruction. So much so that people in the Pokemon world don't know at all the deeds of the inheritor of the Dragon God. But Lance always felt something was wrong. On the scroll that Yulong Pendant took out, the divine beast that resembles Rayquaza under the Dragon God Envoy is obviously the strongest Pokemon of the man who lived 10,000 years ago. Could this Pokemon be Yi Chen's colorful Rayquaza? I have heard of it. Kalos region seems to have developed a special way of evolution, and even some mythical beasts can use this to change their form. If the guess is true, wouldn't Yi Chen conquer the Dragon God Envoy's strongest trump card? A person who accepts inheritance can achieve this level? It is almost the same as the Dragon God Envoy himself. After thinking about it, Lance finally laughed. Forget it. My guess is even more unreliable. How could someone live that long? Asterisk. Chapter 15. The huge influence of the gods list, the world ushered in the dragon fever. Kanto Region Pokemon Alliance Headquarters. Alliance leader Damallon helplessly looked at the information gathered from the major regions. Hoenn Region, no trace of Mr. Yi Chen was found. Unova Region, no trace of Mr. Yi Chen was found. Kalos Region, no trace of Mr. Yi Chen was found. It's impossible. Damallon had a creepy and weird feeling in his heart. You know, the Pokemon Alliance has forces all over the world, and it's not difficult to find someone. And Yi Chen, this mysterious powerhouse, has not been found at all, as if it never existed in the world. It's like a god who has only heard its legends, but can't really witness it. At the same time, Team Rocket's headquarters. Giovanni stands in the laboratory. Several elderly people from the water capital of Hoenn Region were kidnapped. By Giovanni's side was Mutwo, who had taken off his restraining armor. This Pokemon is unleashing confusion in full force. Giovanni sensed Mutwo's thoughts, and his eyes became more and more surprised. In the water capital, for more than 100 years, no outsider has come into contact with Latios. The leader of Team Rockets is stunned. So how did Yi Chen conquer these two legendary Pokemon? The most direct explanation is that he made Latias and Latios surrender more than 100 years ago. Can human lifespan do this? Giovanni pondered, suddenly trembling slightly, with a creepy feeling. It seems that he has inadvertently peeped into a great existence. Forget it. Suspend the investigation, he said to Archer and Athena, who were kneeling. The leader of Team Rockets somehow felt that he was tracking down Yi Chen, and he would bring disaster. Sinnoh Region, Dianyuan Mountain. Cyrus' face was full of surprise. You mean no one has taken Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina? Their temples haven't been used for hundreds of years? The three divine beasts also haven't appeared for hundreds of years? The head of the Galaxy Group had a solemn expression and an inexplicable unease. He faintly sensed Yi Chen's identity, which was probably far beyond his initial guess. Is the other party really just a trainer who has captured the legendary Pokemon? Could he be some kind of supernatural being himself? The more Cyrus thought about it, the more irritable he became. Even your own intuition madly calls the police. If you continue to investigate, you will bring a huge disaster for yourself. In the end, the hero was silent. Cyrus said with some difficulty to the members of the Galaxy Group who were respectfully waiting for instructions. Don't continue to investigate Yi Chen's matter for the time being. After saying this, Cyrus felt relieved, as if he had lifted a heavy burden. By great coincidence, Plasma Corps, Team Magma, Water Fleet, the underground organizations seemed to have made an appointment and at the same time suspended the investigation of Yi Chen. Only the Pokemon Alliance and N are left, still exploring the existence of this mysterious powerhouse. However, the investigation of Yi Chen has nothing to do with most of the people in the Pokemon world. After the Pokemon God List selected the strongest dragon trainer, it fell into silence. The various fluctuations in the world also gradually subsided. Elites and champions still need to guard the major regions, and gym leader and superior trainers have also stepped up to work. Regular folks and Pokemon continue to support each other. Countless travelers also set foot on the road again. The only and biggest change, it is the status of a dragon trainer. Especially those who are on the list, the strength has been greatly expanded. There was even an extremely bizarre scene in the Johto region of the league. In addition to being a dragon trainer, Yanma gym leader Claire, who successfully entered the Pokemon God List and got rewards. The remaining 7 gym leaders, all were picked by the dragon trainer. If it is not stipulated by the Pokemon Alliance, only one gym leader of the same attribute can exist. There will even be a weird scene where there are 8 dragon-type gyms in the entire Johto region. At the same time, the dragon elites in each region have also become the strongest under champion. Even if it wasn't for Wallace to have Kingdra, Cynthia to have Garchomp, Diantha to have Strange Jaw, it's impossible to say that the champion position will change hands. In addition, underground gangs such as Team Rockets and Bounty Hunters are also operating like crazy. You know, as long as you are on the leaderboard, The lowest is a Pokemon with quasi-elite qualifications. And the higher-level items such as Elite Stone and Shiny Stone are of inestimable value. In the black market, the rewards given by the Pokemon God list are all sky-high prices. And those greedy people also think very clearly. Even some elite champion-level powerhouses can't move. But some trainers at the bottom of the leaderboard are different. They have the opportunity to kill and snatch their ranking rewards. A quasi-elite Pokemon can be sold for a price that even an organization like Team Rockets can run for years. How can we not let these underground gangs who do evil in themselves not go crazy? Asterisk. Chapter 16. Dragonite, who broke the limit, was born. The Kanto region, where the Yulong family resides. Lance sat in his house, looking at Dragonite in front of him with a smile. Shiny Stone. Really useful. You've become a lot stronger. This Pokemon is the very champion Dragonite that made Lance the 11th best dragon trainer. At this time, although its body shape has not changed, its skin color has become a lot darker. The surface of the skin is even more faintly shimmering. Apparently, the current Dragonite is already a shiny Pokemon. The improvement of Shiny Stone to Dragonite is not low, and the special attack, speed, life, and defense of this Pokemon have increased a lot. But it still failed to break through to the realm of the third-level Divine Beast. Lance is not surprised either. Follow Professor Oak's research. In history, there has never been a record of a trainer raising an ordinary Pokemon to a level 3 Divine Beast. If the God-level Pokemon was so easily broken by him, he felt abnormal. With this in mind, Lance solemnly took out the reward for the 11th place on the Pokemon God list from his pocket. Ultra Stone. Treasures that allow Pokemon to push the limits of champion. This is an extremely crystal-clear object. Lance spread out his palm, and he could even see a huge force flowing slowly inside the spar. With the ultra-limited stone, I will become the first recorded trainer to cultivate a third-level Divine Beast. There was a confident smile on Lance's face. Of course, he didn't get carried away. Compared to Chen, who accepted the inheritance of the Dragon God Envoy, his power is too small. This gap, even if Dragonite successfully breaks through to the third-level God realm, nothing will change. Lance shook his head, putting the thoughts out of his mind for a while. Lift the limit stone and slowly place it on Dragonite's forehead. Roar! And this dark orange shiny Pokemon seemed to realize something and growled excitedly. The ultra-limited stone is slowly integrated on Dragonite's forehead. The huge power is also poured into this Pokemon's body inch by inch. It didn't take a moment for Lance's Ace Dragonite to have an evolution. Constrict is covered with colorful light. The entire body is also improved and optimized in the light. What a strong aura! Lance couldn't help but took a half step back. The energy in Dragonite's body has completely broken through the limit of Champion's limit. The transition to the level of life has been completed, and as the colorful brilliance slowly dissipated, Dragonite's posture changed dramatically from before. Look out! I saw that every muscle line on its body became more smooth and harmonious. The tentacles on his forehead are faintly flashing a strange light. The sharpness of the four minions has also been greatly improved. Just the appearance. It gives a very powerful feeling. But more importantly, Lance can feel that there is a unique temperament in his ace Pokemon. Just standing next to it gives people a feeling of trembling and wanting to worship. All in all are showing that Dragonite at this time has broken through the limits of the race and reached the realm of God-level Pokemon. Roar! Dragonite is also extremely excited and shouted to the sky at this time. It stuck at the champion limit for too long. Under the vibration of the sound waves, the surrounding earth trembled slightly, as if a small earthquake had occurred. It took several minutes for Dragonite to vent its excitement. I saw it take a few steps obediently to Lance's side, and some charm rubbed against his trainer. It knows that without the transcendental stone of crossing, it will always be stuck in champion, and it will not be able to reach this otherworldly realm. Okay, I know you're happy. Lance also smiled reassuringly. He has always hoped to take his ace Pokemon a step further. Now I finally got my wish with the rewards given by the Pokemon God list. In this way, one Pokemon played for a while. Lance took the Dragonite back to the Pokeball. Then he opened the safe in his room. The original grooves were empty, and the remaining grooves were filled with spar that contained powerful power. It is at the outside price that you can buy an Elite Stone in a shopping mall. However, the Elite Stone is not very useful for the current Lance. After all, with his current strength, one more and one less Elite Pokemon is not a big difference. As for the shiny stones other than the Elite Stones, there are 4 Lance Stones, all of which have been used up at this time. One of them is used on Dragonite. The other three are used on Aerodactyl, Charizard, and Gyarados respectively. With the help of shiny stones, these Pokemon have been elevated to the pinnacle of champions. The reason why Lance didn't use it for Kingdra, the hero this time, it is because in terms of comprehensive strength, Kingdra is no match for Aerodactyl, and the improvement of using shiny stone is not as great as that of the latter. Besides, Lance also considered that there is a high probability that the God List will open lists of other attributes in the future. If the flight department is opened, then Aerodactyl, whose strength has increased greatly, will be ranked very high, and the rewards obtained at that time can make up for Kingdra. For the processing of this wave of rewards, Lance considers himself in the atmosphere. 1 Tier 3 God, 3 champions, and 2 champions. With my current overall strength, apart from Chen who can easily defeat me, no one should be my opponent. With that in mind, Lance intends to challenge the Kanto champion once again. Not becoming the Kanto champion has always been a big regret for him. Now that his strength has greatly increased, he wants to be the strongest in Kanto with absolute strength. It's not too late. I'll start the champion challenge again tomorrow. Asterisk. Chapter 17. Challenge the champion again. Lance challenges Kanto champion again. In an instant, the news caused quite a stir. After all, although the shock brought by the previous Pokemon God ranking was great, only 100 Dragon trainers really benefited. The heat is also gradually subsiding. In the hearts of people in the Kanto region and even the entire Pokemon world, this second champion challenge is still of great significance. Not only because of the Kanto region, the champion position has not been selected for a long time. It is because Lance itself has attracted the attention of the world. He is on the list of gods, except for the mysterious powerhouse Chen, the first person. He even got such an outrageous reward as the unlimited stone given by the god list. It can be said that the popularity and attention of this Kanto Champion Challenge is far more than the last time. So much so that when Lance and Professor Oak walked to the champion arena together, they were frightened by the sight in front of them. The arena seats are full. The picture printed into the eyes of the two of them is extremely spectacular. The champion arena has stands that can hold nearly 100,000 people. This time, unprecedentedly packed. Even, many tourists simply stood to watch this champion challenge. And before the game started, it was an extremely lively and noisy picture. Countless trainers were discussing and speculating about the outcome of this champion challenge. Crossing Elite got the reward of the God ranking, but the other 3 elites are still standing still. It seems that they will win. I don't know how much the God list will strengthen Mr. Dew's Dragonite. Originally, he was already the first person in the Dragon family under the mysterious powerhouse Chen, and now his strength is definitely more terrifying. The last challenge was a pity, and the elite was only a little short. This time, his strength has increased greatly. I don't think there is any suspense at all. Mr. Dew will win. It's not too bad for the other 3 elites to lose, even if it is a success. On the spectator stand, most of the gym leaders, superior trainers, and even some ordinary tourists firmly believe that Lance would win in the end. This is also the power of the Trust Gold Pokemon God list. The props it gives will definitely increase the strength of the champion of Helping Hand, Johto. However, in this case, there are still some discordant voices. Before the last Champions League, everyone said Lance had to win. Didn't he lose? Lorelei Elite's Ice Element has a great restraint on Lance. Can it be possible to ignore restraint after breaking through from Champion's Limit to the so-called third-level Divine Beast realm? The schedule this time is still the finale of the Lorelei Elite. The Ice Element has a strong suppression force on the Dragon Element. It is still too early to make an assertion now. That's right. There are not many such voices, but such thoughts do exist. After all, most ordinary trainers simply don't understand what the elite state is and what the champion state is. I don't even understand what kind of combat power the so-called third-level Divine Beast has. They know that attribute restraint is extremely important in battle, and such a concept is even more ingrained for them. Lance, someone said you can't win. Professor Oak was joking. On the other hand, Lance's expression was extremely relaxed. I will prove myself. This Dragon-type elite looked proud. He was very sure that in today's world, apart from that mysterious Chen, no one was his opponent. Dragonite of the third-level mythical beast. Enough to crush everything. Soon, the champion arena echoed the host's impassioned announcement. Thank you to the audience for not far from Norman, who came from all regions to participate in our Kanto event. Dragon Elite, Lance will once again attack the champion position. Surprisingly, This elite chose the exact same challenge order as last time. Continuing with Bruno Elite as the lead and Lorelei Elite as the finale, it seems to be trying to wash away the humiliation of failure. With the host's words to warm up the atmosphere, a frenzied voice sounded in the audience in an instant. Lance must win. Lance must win. Lance must win. There are also a few sporadic sounds. Come on, Bruno Elite. Too bad it's almost impossible to hear. In the cheers of everyone, Lance slowly walked to the battlefield. Opposite him is the fighting class elite Bruno. At this point, Bruno looked at Lance a little helplessly. Although the battle has not officially started, he already knows the result. Normal people don't know the difference between ordinary Pokemon and God-level Pokemon, but these elite champions do. Facing Lance with the third-level God Dragonite, they have little chance of defeating. However, as a top powerhouse, the fighting elite wasn't too discouraged. Even if he is destined to lose, he has to show his will to fight. I haven't played against a beast-level Pokemon yet. Go Machamp, let's see how powerful the God-level Pokemon is. Bruno throws the Pokeball. The host's high-pitched voice also sounded again. Wow, Bruno Elite dispatched the Ace Machamp as soon as it came up. It seems that this time, he is going to use the strongest will to block the champion battle across Elite. Opposite him, Lance threw the Pokeball calmly. With the flash of red light, Dragonite, who had reached the realm of the third-level Divine Beast, also slowly drifted out in the light. In an instant, the cheers of countless audiences froze for a moment. They were shocked inside. Is this still the original Dragonite? The color of the skin became deeper, as if hiding some kind of great energy. The muscle lines of the whole body are optimized to be perfectly smooth and natural. Tentacles, wings, claws are extraordinary. What's even more terrifying is that as soon as Dragonite came on stage, there was a frightening breath. Countless small Pokemons watching the game with their trainers in the spectator stand were all paralyzed with fright. Even curled up in the arms of the master, not even daring to look at the Dragonite in the field. This is Dragonite at the level of Divine Beasts. My God, is the Pokemon of the Elite crossing this level now? Originally, I thought Bruno Elite's Machamp was also very powerful, but when Dragonite appeared, Machamp's momentum was completely suppressed. The gift of the Pokemon God ranking is also too terrifying. The ace of the Elite has advanced to an unimaginable level. Countless audiences were stunned, amazed, and full of surprise. Even the host of the game was in a daze for a long time before stumbling, and said with a great lack of professionalism, Dragonite sent by Elite looks very handsome, and it seems that it has made great progress recently. I don't know, Bruno Elite, how to stop such an attack. With the host's nanny, the showdown officially begins. Machamp, billion-ton shock. Bruno sat cross-legged on the ground, and immediately let his ace use all his strength. He wanted to test how strong Lance's Dragonite was. On the other hand, the Dragon-type Elite on the opposite side just said calmly, Dragonite, use Fire Punch. Fight back. Look down on me so much. A flash of dissatisfaction flashed through Bruno's mind. Fire Punch, used by Dragonite, has neither the bonus of this system nor special effects on the fighting system. With this trick, you want to block Machamp's billion-ton impact? Lance, isn't it too big? However, the picture that appeared in the next second made this fighting elite stunned in place. He is stupid. Asterisk, you can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 18. The Invincible Third-Level God. Everyone was scared stupid. Look out. I saw 100 million tons of impact and fire punch. These two tricks with disproportionate power collided head-on. Bruno's Ace Machamp is full of muscles and blue veins, even tainted with a red aura. He has already exerted all his strength. Lance's Ace, Dragonite, however, is far more relaxed. Even, its coping can be described with simplicity. Dragonite simply gathered fire on its fist. I saw that it threw out a flat punch, hitting Machamp, who had hit him like a meteor in front of him. Boom! In an instant, a violent explosion sounded. On the battlefield, the pieces are broken. Machamp's billion-ton impact exudes boundless energy in the collision. The seemingly unremarkable fire punch used by Dragonite before also showed the real fangs. The blazing fire spread out, but in the violent energy shock, Bruno's Ace Machamp was knocked out without even resisting for a moment. Boom! Its body flew out like a cannonball. In the end, it slammed into the wall on the edge of the battlefield, smashing a huge pit. At the moment when the giant pit was formed, There was also a splash of gravel, which almost hurt the audience in the stands, and Macamp was already lying on the ground, silent. All the audience were stunned. Crackling. For a while, the entire champion arena was silent. Only the flames created by Fire Punch, the burning sound. And Dragonite stood there, calm and relaxed. After a long while, the host shouted in a trembling voice, "One strike." With just one blow, Bruno Elite's Ace Macamp was defeated. Lance's Dragonite is far superior to its opponents. Afterwards, the spectators who were aware of it were shouting like a tsunami. The difference in strength is too big. Dragonite who crosses Elite is simply invincible. The gap between the third-level Divine Beast realm and the champion limit is too big. Crossing Elite, invincible. Lance wins. At this time, even the spectators who had previously thought that the challenge was still in suspense were silent. You must know that last time, Bruno's Ace Macamp was won by Lance's Dragonite. This time, it was very easy to win. Dragonite's strength has far surpassed other Elite's Ace. However, the audience was talking, not knowing the situation. Below, on the battlefield, the scene is completely out of control. Bruno Elite didn't mean to delay time, but went all out to send out the remaining Pokemon one by one. However, it is almost pointless. Hitmonchan, fight and get killed by a Dragon Rage. Shawarang, combined with Dragonite, lost his combat effectiveness. Onix, successfully unleashing Constrict, dealt a lot of damage, but was defeated by Dragonite with another Fire Punch. The audience was also immersed in the amazement of Bruno's Ace Macamp being killed instantly. Fighting Elite's last Pokemon, Steelix, under Dragonite's Flamethrower, only lasted for 3 seconds before crashing to the ground. The host is still trying to explain the situation. Steelix is here. It's ready to use Hyper Beam. Steelix is smashed. Fairy Elite, the next Elite has been requested to appear. In the end, he was stupid. It's only a few minutes. Bruno Elite was taken down? Almost everyone in the audience has a very shocked expression. This champion challenge is too overwhelming. There is almost no suspense about the strength that Du Elite has shown now. Is the change brought about by the list of gods so big? Many people are still looking stupid at this time, and it is a bit difficult to accept the reality. Elite-level powerhouse, hanged and beaten? And what happened next was also a matter of course. Agatha, the Ghost Elite appears. Gengar, escape into the shadow, find the gap, and successfully play a combo. Confuse Ray plus Shadow Ball, plus Hypnosis plus Dream Eater. There are slight black marks on Dragonite. And Lance is a quiet instruction. Sleep talk. Dragonite was in a deep sleep, and suddenly it was a move extrasensory, like the ocean-like confusion, which drowned Gengar in an instant. Ghost Elite's trump card, Fiasco. Next, the Arbor was blown out of the field by Hyper Beam. Crobat, when using Air Cutter, was hit by Dragonite directly by Dragon Rush. The scene is extremely tragic. Again, less than 5 minutes. The audience was still stunned the whole time. Agatha Elite is also powerless to fight back. I feel like I'm dreaming. Dragonite and Duo Elite are too strong. The gap is so big that no tactics can smooth it out. And on the battlefield, the last Elite, Lorelei, took a deep breath. She stood opposite Lance, and the entire arena was a little quiet, even depressing. Lorelei knew he was going to lose. No one even cheered her on in the champion arena. The difference in strength is too obvious. But Lorelei still firmly took out Dagong's Pokeball. She won't give up without a fight. She knew it wouldn't stop Lance from becoming champion this time around. Because in addition to Dragonite, Lance has 5 main players that did not appear. In this case, she is no match for Lance even without Dragonite. But she also has her own fighting ambitions. That is, with the advantage of attributes and the fatigue of Dragonite's continuous battles, defeating Dragonite who was promoted to God. However, Lorelei still underestimated the power of the beast. Having completed the transformation of life level, Dragonite, who has been promoted to Divine Beast, is really too powerful. That kind of powerful. It is far from being able to be offset by attribute restraint and some moderate physical exertion. When the host announces the start of the battle directly presented a one-sided trend. Even, several of Lorelei's main Pokemon did not cause much effective damage to Dragonite when they did their best, and were easily defeated by the opponent in an invincible posture. That's all. Just minutes into the battle, the last Elite in the Region Champion Challenge was defeated, until the host announced the victory of Lance and became the Kanto champion. Countless trainers' onlookers recovered from the shock of Dragonite's inverse attribute, easily killing opponents in seconds. How is this possible? Asterisk. Chapter 19. How strong is his Pokemon? How is this possible? Dragonite, the dragon type, easily overturned all the Pokemon of Lorelei Elite? Yeah, attribute restraint can only bring a little trouble to Dragonite, causing some very weak injuries. Other than that, there is no other effect. The reverse attribute is also an instant kill. Is the strength of the third-level Divine Beast so much more than the champion limit? Even if it is evolution once, it will not have such an increase in combat power. Too powerful. This kind of strength is simply incomprehensible. It makes sense. Seeing that Dragonite quickly pushed the main Pokemon of the three elites horizontally, the onlookers were shocked. Before that, they don't know how powerful a Pokemon who has reached the God-level realm has. But this time in the Champion Challenge they got it. Below the level of Divine Beasts are all ants, even with attribute restraint. Even if you can play a subtle tactical coordination, even if you try your best. Not worth mentioning for Pokemon who can be called gods. Easily crushed. Countless viewers felt like they were almost suffocating looking at the Dragonite on the stage. So strong. Later, some people who didn't support Lance complained and became sour. That means Lance is lucky. The first one on the Pokemon God list is the Dragon-type list. If it were the Ice-type list, he wouldn't have a chance to win now. That's right. The 11th prize on the God list is too exaggerated. This champion challenge is not fair at all. Most of the audience ignores this statement. Lance was already one step away from champion before, and the chance of winning without relying on the Pokemon rankings is not small. At best, it is not as easy as this time. To say that he relies on luck is pure slander. However, these people who slandered Lance gave more audiences a wake-up call. A level 3 Divine Beast could make Lance the strongest champion. Isn't that Pokemon in Chen's hands even more terrifying? Hearing this sentence, the onlookers were stunned for a moment, and then the atmosphere immediately boiled. K, what you say is true. The more I think about it, the more terrifying it is. You must know that this invincible Dragonite is the last in Chen's team. It's terrible that Chen is really terrible. Indeed, his strength is beyond imagination. Thinking of Chen's terrifying strength, the audience in the stands looked horrified and shocked. Before that, they know that the third-level Divine Beast is very strong, but they don't know how strong it is. But now they know. Ordinary Pokemon, even elite-level Pokemon, are vastly different from Tier 3 Divine Beasts. What tactics? What property restraint? In the face of the absolute strength gap, any external factors can make up for it. And the third-level Divine Beasts are so powerful. So what about the stronger secondary gods? What about the first-level gods above the second-level gods? As well as, what about the quasi-creation gods who are above the first-level gods? Thinking of this, the audience at the scene instantly felt their scalps go numb. It was only now that they understood. Chen, the mysterious man who dominates the god list. His true strength. I am afraid it has already exceeded the limit that ordinary people can imagine. Not to mention them ordinary trainers. Even the elite champions of various regions are vulnerable like children in front of him, right? This moment, the trainers watching had never seen Chen with their own eyes. But his invincible strength has been deeply imprinted in their minds. Everyone, let's congratulate Elite on becoming the Kanto region champion with warm applause. When everyone was shocked by Chen's strength, the host on stage had announced that Lance became the region champion. Congratulations! Under the stage, the onlookers burst into bustling applause, not as enthusiastic as they imagined, because these people have not recovered from their shock. Rumbling. At this moment, a sudden loud noise woke everyone up. Immediately after, they all looked towards the source of the sound. The loud noise just now came from the gods? Look, everyone. The list of gods has changed. Seeing the source of the loud noise, everyone was shocked. But before they could say anything, what happened next stunned everyone. Look out. I saw the golden light shining on the god list, and the whole sky was brilliant. The strange and quaint characters on it are also changing, eventually forming new characters. The ranking of the strongest psychic trainers will be released in 3 days. Damn it, the God ranking is finally going to release a new ranking list. Mass, why is the new list psychic instead of fire? Ah, great. This time it's finally our psychic rise. There are only 3 days left for the release. Is it still time for me to grab a psychic Pokemon now? This moment, seeing the new list released by the God list, the minds of trainers all over the world were once again affected. Among them, some people feel extremely depressed about the release of the new list. Because of this list, they missed it again. And some people are ecstatic. Because they are both psychic trainers, the main Pokemon in their hands are all psychic. But, no matter what kind of trainer, they all have the highest expectations and attention for the new list to be released in 3 days. You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 20. Psychic List, Confident Giovanni. The world of Pokemon is shaking again. When the ranking of the strongest dragon trainers was announced last time, there were still people who would be skeptical. But now, the strength of the dragon trainers who were previously on the list has skyrocketed. Status and power are at your fingertips. No one has long questioned the authenticity of the God list. At this point, countless psychic trainers fell into ecstasy. Psychic? God help me too. We must hurry up and train Pokemon. As long as the leader is at his peak, he has a chance to be on the list. Before, those dragon trainers were lucky and overwhelmed us. After the release of the God list, we can far surpass trainers from other trainers. This time, are the rewards on the God ranking the same as those on the dragon ranking? All I need to do is get to the bottom of the rankings and get a Pokemon with quasi-elite qualifications. We psychic are about to rise. Even under the extreme excitement, the brilliance of confusion was poured into many cities. It's the performance of those psychic who can't control their excitement. Once you get the reward of the God ranking, you will definitely increase your strength. Who can calm down here? Saffron City, in the Super Gym. Sabrina, since the news released by the Gods list, looked excited and threw a few weird ragdolls aside. A leaderboard? I don't know what ranking I can get. At least it's in the forefront. There was a bit of arrogance in her tone. Obviously, he is sure that he will be on the list, and even the ranking is not low. And her confidence comes from being a psychic herself. Powerful psychic players have unique advantages in cultivating psychic Pokemon, and Sabrina's psychic is the strongest in the entire Pokemon world. Sinnoh Region, Pokemon Association Building. Lucian, put down the scroll in your hand. There was a glint of joy in his eyes. This middle-aged man, who has always been calm in the face of trouble, can't calm down for a long time now. As an elite who specializes in superpowers, I must have a place in the psychic list this time. Even my ranking may be higher than those of the elite champions on the dragon list. After all, there is only one super powerful person like Chen, and such a person will never appear on the psychic list. Meanwhile, among Viridian Gym, Giovanni is the most excited. The leader of Team Rockets is always smiling and calm. Now his face is flushed with excitement. Ha ha ha. Psychic rankings. God help me too. This time the top spot will only be me, Giovanni. Seeing that the psychic list was open this time, even with Giovanni's deepness, he couldn't help laughing at this time. Because his Mewtwo is psychics. In psychic, Giovanni never believed that any Pokemon could surpass Mewtwo. After all, Mewtwo is the strongest Pokemon that Team Rockets has used the most cutting-edge biotechnology technology, combined with Mew's genes, to manufacture over several years. It's powerful. It has even surpassed Mew. Who is Mew? That is the ancestor of all the legendary Pokemon. The legendary Pokemon with the strength that rivals or even surpasses the ordinary first-level gods. But even this kind of Pokemon may not be able to match his Mewtwo. From this, it can be predicted how powerful Mewtwo is. Say without hesitation. In Giovanni's heart, let alone ordinary Pokemon, Mewtwo's strength is definitely among the best among those legendary gods. Therefore, for number 1 on the psychic list this time, he is bound to win with Mewtwo. If I can get the top reward this time, Mewtwo's strength will skyrocket again. When the time comes, use it to control the Chen and take the Pokemon in his hand for my use. Then I will be the sole ruler of this world. Thinking of this, Rao couldn't help being emotional because of Giovanni's deepness. He already had a premonition that in the near future, his long-held dream would come true. Team Rockets. This organization he created will truly dominate the world. Of course, the premise of all this is after Mewtwo topped the list and won the God list reward. Before that, he wouldn't take the initiative to expose Mewtwo, let alone provoke that Chen easily. After all, with the current strength of Team Rockets and Mewtwo, it is not enough to deal with the Pokemon League and that Chen. All things will have to wait until Mewtwo's strength has increased significantly after winning the top spot. Everything. Just wait for Mewtwo to reach the top of the psychic chart. Giovanni's face filled with confidence and calm at the thought of the wish that was about to come true. All he has to do now is to wait for the list to be released and then get the top reward. As for whether someone will rank higher on the list than the one who owns Mutwo, Giovanni never thought about it. Because, in this world, there is no psychic Pokemon stronger than Mutwo. So on the psychic list, Giovanni has absolute confidence in himself and Mutwo. Even that Chen would never want to compete with him for the top spot on the psychic list. Asterisk. Chapter 21. This time, will Chen dominate the list? Indigo Plateau, Champion Arena. At this time, the building that was originally used for the league competition was once again crowded with people. Even if there are no events, the body of the Pokemon God list is located here. This alone has attracted tourists and trainers from all over the world to make pilgrimages. On the top of the list of gods, there are already a large number of strange words. Glittering dazzling brilliance. Anyone who casts his eyes on it will immediately feel the sensation in his heart. Ranking release countdown, 03:11, top psychic trainer ranking, will be announced soon. Countless trainers, either in the champion arena or in other places to follow the leaderboard. They are all looking forward to the upcoming ranking of the Pokemon God list. Almost people all over the world put down what they were doing and paid attention to the content of this list. Hundreds of thousands of spectators in the champion arena were also excited to discuss. I don't know who will be on the psychic list this time. Lorelei Elite in the Kanto region should be fine. Her Jinx also has the attributes of psychic. Lorelei Elite should be able to get a good ranking, but in terms of training psychic Pokemon, psychic people are too advantageous. Although Sabrina, leader of Saffron City, is young, her superpower Pokemon strength is not low. This time there should be a great place. Unova region's Catlia Elite should be the top one, right? Her psychic Pokemon is one of the best in Elite. Just when everyone was recommending the strong people who they thought could be on the list, a voice suddenly came from the crowd. You said, this time on the psychic list, will the mysterious powerhouse named Chen top the list again, or even dominate the list? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Then, countless viewers joined the topic. This situation is impossible. I admit that Mr. Chen's Pokemon is very strong, but it is only specific to the Dragon-type Pokemon. Indeed, Mr. Chen is undoubtedly the strongest in terms of Dragon-type Pokemon, but the cultivation of Dragon-type Pokemon and Psychic are not the same concept at all. He who specializes in Dragon-type Pokemon cannot achieve much in Psychic. Yeah, if Mr. Chen's Latias and Latios can make it to the superpower list, there is still a high possibility, but I guess the God list should not let a Pokemon be on the list twice. I guess the biggest possibility is that Mr. Chen will use his powerful strength to subdue some good Psychic Pokemon. It is normal for them to be on the list, but the position must not be too high. That's right, being able to occupy the Dragon ranking is already the limit. If you want to occupy the Psychic ranking at the same time, it is very unlikely. Everyone went through a heated discussion about your words and my words. In the end, a point was made. That is, the mysterious mega powerhouse Chen is the strongest Dragon-type Pokemon trainer. But on this Psychic list, people are not optimistic about his ranking. Not only ordinary trainers, but also many strong people think this way. In the Kanto Alliance VIP room, Lance and Professor Oak and a few elites sat in the VIP room, thoughtful. Naturally, they also heard the comments from the outside world. Among them, Lance was the first to nod his head in agreement. This Psychic ranking should have little to do with Mr. Chen. The new Kanto champion is very determined. After all, others don't know the details, but he does. The reason why Chen was able to conquer so many legendary Pokemon of dragons is because he inherited the inheritance of the dragon gods. But the dragon god made this inheritance. It is only limited to helping hand Chen to conquer the dragon legend Pokemon, other legendary Pokemon. But he won't easily recognize him because of his status as the dragon god envoy. Therefore, Lance also concluded that Chen would not have a high ranking in this ranking. Lance said it well. With Chen's strength, it shouldn't be a problem to conquer a few powerful psychic Pokemon, but it is said that Pokemon can't be conquered by force alone. Professor Oak also added. He has specifically studied the problem of capturing the beast-level Pokemon, like Moltres, Zapdos, the third-level divine beasts that exist in the form of ethnic groups. Why are they rarely owned by trainers? Conquering a mythical beast and conquering a powerful Pokemon are completely two concepts. God will never drop their proud heads to mortals easily. Therefore, he also thinks that the probability of Chen owning the Psychic Legend Pokemon is almost zero. Yes, it is estimated that this time, Mr. Chen, it would be good to have one or two Psychic Pokemon on the list. The situation like the last time I won the top 10 will never happen again. In the end, several elites such as Lorelei also expressed their views and opinions. Buzzing. When everyone was thinking about the ranking of the gods, the countdown of the gods had already reached 0. Countless bright golden and simple words are hidden. Although people in the Pokemon world are watching with their eyes, it seems that there is a solemn voice in their hearts. The ranking of the strongest psychic trainers has begun to be announced. Conditions for listing. Among all regions, the top 100 psychic Pokemons that have been subdued will be included in the list. The Pokemon on the above list cannot be listed repeatedly. The God list prompt is the same as before, except that there is one more Pokemon that cannot be selected multiple times into the ranking list. This doesn't matter to most trainers at all, but it made those psychic strong men breathe a sigh of relief. That's great. The God list really won't let a Pokemon be on the list twice. Seeing this situation, many psychic powerhouses felt joy in their hearts. Before that, they guessed that a Pokemon might not be on the list twice. But that's just speculation after all. Now confirmed. This means that Chen's mysterious powerhouse Latios and Latias cannot be on the list. Thus, they directly lost the 2 big mountains that were pressing on their heads. Not to mention, they ranked at least 2 places. The reward gap is huge. This time the ranking is less than the unreasonable existence of Chen. The ranking should be much normal. Thinking of this, all the powerful psychic trainers felt a lot more relaxed. P.S. Begging for flowers, evaluation tickets, collections, and rewards. Asterisk, you can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 22. Scary Rewards, Crazy Psychic Trainers. On the Pokemon God list, the strange and simple words are constantly condensed. It didn't take a moment for the last ranked psychic trainer to appear. People in the world of Pokemon, hold your breath and look forward to it. Ranking announced. 100th place, Rapidash, Galar, Strength, Leader Peak Trainer, Luwung Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry, a strange berry with powerful power. When consumed by Pokemon, Pokemon can quickly reach Quasi-Elite combat power when the information and rewards of the last place on the list appear. In an instant, countless psychic trainers went crazy. Horrified cries can be heard everywhere. My God, how can this reward be better than the last dragon ranking list? Quasi-Elite Berry. Elevating a Pokemon directly to the Quasi-Elite level is much more valuable than a high-quality Pokemon that needs to be cultivated. The strength of the list is still the peak of the leader, but the reward is too good. Damn it, Dragon-type trainers have lost a lot. With the same strength, Psychic's ranking reward is much better. It seems that our psychic trainers are the chosen ones. The treatment given by the gods far exceeds that of dragons. Psychic trainer, almost collectively insane. This Pokemon list is really awesome. The difficulty of making the list remains the same. It is still the selection of the 100 strongest trainers, which can be rewarded several times, better than the previous dragon list. A quasi-elite qualified Pokemon, trained to quasi-elite, needs a lot of resources. Even an ordinary trainer can't complete the bankruptcy and can only waste the talent of Pokemon. There's even a risk of the Pokemon dying halfway. It can be described as a lot of shortcomings. And the Quasi-Elite Berry directly makes a Pokemon break through to the Quasi-Elite state. No cost. There is no chance of failure. To put it mildly, from the current point of view, the reward value of the top 100 in the Psychic list is more than 10 times that of the Dragon list. Countless Psychic trainers are even more proud. Before, let the group of dragons get the benefits first. As a result, we have gained even more. That's right, after the Pokemon world, our psychic status is expected to rise. The value of a quasi-elite berry is no less than that of an elite qualified Pokemon. The rewards after the God ranking will be even better. Our psychic is about to rise. They are all excited. Judging from the rewards currently given by the Pokemon God list, Psychic will definitely be able to dominate the entire Pokemon world. Once the Elite and Champion occupy a high position, they are all Psychic-based. The Pokemon Alliance will also give priority to the development of resources for cultivating Psychic Pokemon to meet the needs of those top powerhouses. At that time, even ordinary Psychic trainers can benefit a lot from it. In Viridian Gym, Giovanni laughed even more. He gently stroked Persian next to him, overjoyed. Well, the rewards on the Psychic list have actually increased. It's better for me. Giovanni is very happy now. His Mutuo is the strongest Psychic mythical beast. He will also be able to take the first place in the ranking of the strongest Psychic trainers. This time, the better the reward of the god list, the greater his benefit. And, if I remember correctly, Sabrina is also a strong psychic. She has also cultivated a group of psychic people in the organization. In Team Rockets, you can also get a lot of ranking rewards. Giovanni nodded with great satisfaction. The last time on the Dragon ranking list, a huge Team Rockets, no one was on the list. Dragon-type Pokemon are indeed too rare. How can someone who can be reduced to join an underground organization have it? But, this time on the Psychic list, Giovanni is sure that Sabrina and her men will be able to occupy a lot of rankings, plus the first place booked by Mutuo. His Team Rockets will be the biggest winner of this release. Also at a time when Psychics trainers were extremely excited. The Pokemon God ranking is still ranked slowly in a solemn form, unmoved by the hustle and bustle of the world. 99th, Sun EV Strength, Leader Peak Trainer. Sanner Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry plus Perfect Quality Sunstone. 98th, Alakazam Strength, Leader Peak Trainer. Imhere Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry plus Perfect Quality Confusion Spoon. Number 97, Hypno Strength, Leader Peak Trainer. Lou Foster Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry plus Perfect Quality Psychic Gems *10. As the rankings were announced one by one, the Dragon trainers became more and more annoyed. It's not just that the Quasi-Elite Berry is stronger than the Quasi-Elite qualified Pokemon. The God ranking has also started rewarding perfect quality items earlier. Yes, Confusion Spoons and Psychic Gems are props that can greatly improve combat effectiveness. They are much stronger than the one or two skills inherited from the Dragon rankings. Shinbang's reward this time is too strong, it's unfair. With the advancement of the rankings, the trainers of the Dragon system have already affirmed that this time the Universe Origin reward is much stronger than the first Dragon ranking. All of a sudden, the jealous eyes turned red. Why? I'm not psychic. Get the ranking reward in advance, but the quality is so much worse. Blood loss. And just when everyone was amazed that the reward was more powerful, another ranking was announced on the top of the God list. 84th, Wobbuffet Strength, Leader Peak Trainer, Sabrina Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry *2, F *K. It's Saffron City Gym Leader Sabrina. Seeing Sabrina on the list, the Kanto region is also boiling. This demon from Saffron City is also on the list. It's broken. After getting the reward of the God list, I don't know how many people will be killed by Sabrina. It's over. Originally, I was going to challenge Saffron City Gym. How dare I now? Sabrina must be more brutal than before. Sabrina is on the list. No, it's Wobbuffet, not her Alakazam. Sabrina's ace has another chance on the list. Sabrina is already extremely talented, so she can be on the list at least twice this time. Doesn't she want her strength to skyrocket? Alas. Although Sabrina Gym Leader is indeed a bit eccentric, she still has strength. Once the Gods list comes out, she will definitely take off. Quite Elite Berry, still too. The reward is too exaggerated. I really envy Sabrina Leader. She has gained so much from this list. Among the countless emotions, some are happy and some are sad. Some even shivered. It was those unlucky bastards who once challenged Saffron City Gym. Although most of these people are Alliance trainers, it does not prevent them from thinking of Sabrina with some anxiety and fear. After all, this psychic leader has a history of turning challenge losers into dolls. After getting the reward of the God ranking, the strength has greatly increased, and it is estimated that he will be more willful. However, more people from the Kanto region are still honored. They know that Sabrina is going to get huge benefits just by being on the list once. What's more, Wobbuffet isn't her ace yet. After that, Alakazam is very likely to get a better ranking. It is no exaggeration to say that the gym leader of Psychic, becoming an elite-level powerhouse, is very promising. Star. Chapter 23. Reward Against the Sky. Instantly reach elite level. At the same time, in Saffron City Gym, Sabrina looked at the two crystal-clear berry, suddenly condensed in the void. Feel the surging power in it. Even with her usual iceberg-like demeanor, she was also full of surprises at this time. The reward of this God list is actually better than expected at the beginning. With two quasi-elite berry, my Wobbuffet and Mr. Mime can break through from the peak of the leader to the quasi-elite level. Sabrina is extremely surprised at this time. There is also a fighting gym in Saffron City. Although it has not been officially certified by the Alliance, it has always been extremely incompatible with Sabrina's Super Gym. Friction on both sides. In the past, Sabrina just held down this gym at most. And now with the bonus of two quasi-elite berry, she can drive this fighting gym out of Saffron City. A wish of Sabrina was fulfilled. She is naturally in a great mood. Leader, congratulations. Next, your ace, Alakazam, is estimated to be on the list again. Our gym has also risen. Several psychic people around Sabrina crowded up. Obviously, they were in a good mood. The leader's main force is listed once, and 2 quasi-elites combat power has been added. Ace Alakazam, you can get even better rewards. The stronger Sabrina's strength is, the more alliance funding gym gets, the higher the tide will be. They gym members can also profit. I don't know how many names my Alakazam can get. Sabrina didn't care too much about the touts of the gym members. She closely watched the changes on the list of gods, looking forward to it. Above the list of gods, the text and pictures change again and again. 83rd, Girafarig Strength, Leader Peak Trainer, Lugil Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry * 2 plus Move Machine, Trick Room. 82nd, Zata Strength, Leader Peak Trainer, Lugil Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry * 2 plus Move Machine, Psychic. 80th, Wobbuffet Strength, Quasi-Elite Junior Trainer, Carl Reward, Quasi-Elite Berry * 3. The ranking is rising rapidly, and there are more than a dozen psychic trainers, and the harvest is huge. However, it did not surprise people too much, but they are all looking forward to whether there will be more precious rewards after the ranking rises. Finally, after the ranking of the gods was released, the Pokemon world shook again. 70th, Solrock Strength, Quasi-Elite Intermediate Trainer, Xiao Feng Reward, Elite Berry, a strange berry with great power. When consumed by Pokemon, Pokemon can quickly reach elite-level combat power. 69th place, Moon Rock Strength, Quasi-Elite Intermediate Trainer, Xiaonan Reward, Elite Berry. These are the 2 gym leaders of Mossdeep City. In an instant, the people in the Hoenn region started to get excited. These are our 2 gym leaders in the Hoenn region. Xiaofeng and Xiaonan are lucky. They just happened to be in the ranking of the reward upgrade of the God ranking. They got the Elite Berry. They made a lot of money. The last time on the Dragon ranking list was around 70, and the quality of rewards has suddenly risen to a new level. The same is true for this Psychic ranking. These 2 gym leaders are considered lucky. I really envy them. With these rewards, 2 elite-level Pokemon can be formed in an instant. The Green Ridge Gym is about to become the most terrifying one in the Hoenn region. Some people are excited that Hoenn region finally has a well-known powerhouse on the leaderboard, and they are honored. And more people are envious and jealous. Elite Berry instantly raised 2 Pokemons to elite level. What concept? Almost instantly, Xiaofeng and Xiaonan became top powerhouses. The benefits of being on the God list are indeed terrifying. At this time, Hoenn Elite Drake was sitting at home with a happy expression on his face, and he sighed with emotion. Good, good. Just got an Elite Berry, not bad. In this way, the Hoenn Alliance can add 2 more top powerhouses. Although he is somewhat regretful that the Dragon rank list is not as rewarding as the Superpower list, but he is still happy from the bottom of his heart that the 2 leaders, Feng and Nan, have won awards. After all, these 2 are the official gym leaders of the Alliance. They've grown so much, and that's good for the Hoenn League as a whole. At the same time, among the Green Ridge Gym, Xiaofeng and Xiaonan held hands and cheered. Wow, it's just a little bit. Our ranking is a little lower, and it is estimated that we can only get a quasi-elite berry. Great. The strength of Moonrock and Solrock can also increase a lot. Although they have become gym leaders, Xiaofeng and Xiaonan are still children at heart. Can't contain the joy in my heart. Elite Berry. The effect is overbearing. Although the 2 of them are young, they also know that Pokemon is not easy to cultivate. Normally, Solrock and Moonrock will take more than 10 years to advance to the elite level. And with a random reward on the Pokemon God list, Helping Hand Xiaofeng and Xiaonan can easily get their long-cherished wish. How can they not get excited? Asterisk. Chapter 24. Team Rocket's Chief Cadre. Hoenn region cheers for Mossdeep City Gym leaders listing. And the powerhouses of other regions are also on the list. 64th. Raichu, Alola, Strength, Quasi-Elite Intermediate Trainer, Dexio Reward, Elite Berry Plus Perfect Quality Psychic Gyms, * 20 people in Alola cheered. This is Sycamore Professor's assistant. He has a good ranking. Number 60. Blimwin Strength, Quasi-Elite Advanced Trainer, Peter Reward, Elite Berry Plus Quasi-Elite Berry * 2 Someone in the Galar region soon shouted excitedly. It's the gym leader of the dance arena. He got 3 berries. His strength will skyrocket. 57th place, Super Esper Strength, Quasi-Elite Advanced Trainer, Gu Jihua Reward, Elite Berry * 2 Many people in the Kalos Alliance noticed the picture on the God list. It's the fortune teller of Baiki Gym. The ranking is so high. With 2 elite berries, Gujihua is destined to become the strongest gym leader in Kalos. For a time, elite from major regions, psychic powerhouses below champion, appeared one after another, occupying many seats on the leaderboard. Countless people cheered for these powerhouses on the list, lamenting their huge gains. And above the God list, another ranking was announced. 55th, Alakazam Strength, Quasi-Elite Peak Trainer, Sabrina Reward, Elite Berry *3. After this ranking appeared, it set off a lot of waves. Sabrina from Saffron City is on the list again. On the list twice, our super gym leader in the Kanto region is really amazing. 3 Elite Berry. What concept is this? A new psychic elite is about to be born. Sabrina has been on the list twice? As expected to be one of the strongest psychic people. The rewards are too generous. People all over the world sighed. People in the Kanto region are naturally proud, but more people are extremely envious. The harvest of 3 Elite Berry, Sabrina is really only one step away from Psychic Elite. Among Viridian Gym, Master Giovanni. Good news. Miss Sabrina, she has won 2 rankings in a row. Her strength has skyrocketed. Our Team Rockets are up again. Archer sat on his knees and congratulated the leader of Team Rockets. The cadre looked ecstatic on the surface, but he was already extremely jealous in his heart. Why didn't I major in Psychic? Moreover, the rewards given out on this superpower list are very good. Cheap is occupied by Sabrina. Now her strength is estimated to far exceed other cadres including herself. Even the first person under Giovanni. Although Archer said congratulations, his heart felt like blood was dripping. Giovanni, on the other hand, smiled admiringly. Yes, Sabrina has indeed improved a lot this time. I've decided to appoint her as chief cadre. Giovanni finished speaking and glanced around casually. He naturally saw the expressions of Archer and other cadres beside him, obviously full of unwillingness. Giovanni could also guess what they were thinking. Nothing but jealousy of Sabrina's benefits from being on the list. However, the opinions of these people are simply irrelevant. Giovanni's idea is clear. Strength is the last word. Anyway, Team Rockets has gained a boost in combat effectiveness, so it's worth rejoicing. However, Giovanni didn't dwell on Sabrina's question for too long at this point. He just looked at the gods list with great anticipation. The Team Rockets leader had a very clear idea in his mind. Although Sabrina's strength is good, compared with her Mutwo, it is completely the gap between Firefly and Haoyue. Rao is so. The newly appointed Chief Cadre can immediately get 3 elite-level Pokemon with the help of the ranking reward. And when the list of gods is released to the end, how good is the top reward that you get with Mutwo? At this point, Giovanni had a calm look under his hands. But in my heart, I couldn't wait for the god list to announce the top ranking of the psychic list. That way, not only will he be able to show his best work in front of the world, but he will also receive incredible mega rewards. It not only made a name for itself, but also obtained a huge increase in strength. At this time, the Pokemon God list is still being released quickly. A group of trainers who are at the peak of the Quasi-Elite level are also on the list. 50th place, Wawanunio Quasi-Elite Peak Trainer, Canary 48th, Gardevoir Quasi-Elite Peak Trainer, Liwei 44th place, Swoobat Quasi-Elite Peak Trainer, Jatian. Although the listing of these people has caused a lot of waves, the discussion is not too much. First, most of these people are hermits and strong people, and not many people know about them. Second, these trainers who are ranked in the 40 or so, the rewards they get from the God ranking are still mainly Elite Berry, and there has not been much improvement. So it didn't attract much attention. But, when seeing the latest rankings, the whole Pokemon world is boiling again. You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites share the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 25. Feast of Super Elite. At this time, the elite-level powerhouses in the major regions on the God list finally began to list one by one. The top strongmen of the major regions, You Can Sing and I will appear. Even directly occupied dozens of rankings on the list of Psychic's strongest trainers. 40th, Executor Elite Junior Trainer, Kazuki 39th, Sun EV Elite Junior Trainer, Lucian 31st, Sigilif Elite Junior Trainer, Catlia 23rd, Gardevoir Elite Intermediate Trainer, Kazuki number 19, Masharna Elite Intermediate Trainer, Catlia 15th, Reuniclus Elite Advanced Trainer, Catlia. The world is buzzing again. The reward on the God list is still Elite Berry, but the number is increasing. My God, these Pokemons aren't the trump cards of the major region elites. The rankings are already very good. The psychic elites are taking off. They still have a chance to be on the list. Has anyone noticed that Miss Katlia from Kalos region has been on the list 3 times? It's outrageous. She is the big winner of this list. She has already won 10 elite berry. On the psychic list, the quality of the rewards is high, and elites have been on the list more often. It seems that the psychic in the league will be the dominant one. Why? We didn't choose psychic in the first place, and it took too much advantage. Most people watch these elites on the list, but they are truly shocked. This time, these psychic powerhouses took a big advantage. It is no exaggeration to say that the strength of the team is very likely to double directly. This still doesn't take into account the increase in the strength of elites ace on the list. If you count those, the increase in strength will only be more terrifying and exaggerated. Everyone can see that in the days to come, the super elite will become the most valuable and strongest one in the major leagues. And as long as there are some strong powerhouses, all of them are jealous with red eyes. Outrageous. All of them are extremely regretful of themselves. Why are they not psychics trainers? Why not raise a psychic Pokemon? The rewards for this ranking are even better than the last Dragon Rank list. Anytime you make the list, you will earn blood. Now they can only be extremely annoyed. As for those psychic elite powerhouses who have repeatedly appeared on the list, one by one they were ecstatic. However, he could barely keep his sanity, because they know the real surprise is yet to come. Your own ace will soon be on the list to get the final reward. Finally, as the Pokemon God list radiates bright rays of light, the rankings are back. 14th place, Zata Strength, Elite Advanced Trainer, Kazuki Reward, Champion Berry, a strange berry with great power. When consumed by Pokemon, Pokemon can quickly reach champion level combat power. Immediately, Johto region, bang. At this time, Kazuki has not yet become a Kanto elite, so the people in his hometown of Johto region are happy for him. God's list is so great. It directly gives us Johto's Kazuki an extra champion level combat power. I'm so envious. Kazuki's attack on the elite, I guess it's a sure thing. And Kazuki himself was watching the gradually condensed champion berry at home, almost crazy with joy. With berry and champion level Pokemon, it's time to look for even more excitement. His eyes are frantic, and he is extremely grateful to the gods. 13th, Miss Goth Strength, Elite Peak Trainer, Katlia Reward, Champion Berry plus Elite Berry *2 in the Battle Chateau, Unova region, countless superior trainers are cheering. Long live Miss Katlia. Great, finally got the Champion Berry, and 2 more Elite Berry. Huge harvest. And Katlia in the center of the castle is also smiling. Couldn't contain the joy in my heart. In addition to the previous ranking rewards, a total of more than 10 Elite Berry can instantly pull up 2 Psychic Elite. This is the most suitable reward for me. Katlia was very excited. She was the heir of the big family. In addition to his own strength, he has also been committed to improving the ability of his family. And so many Elite Berry can definitely make the power of the tribe skyrocket. How could this Psychic Elite not be happy? 12th place, Galade Strength, Elite Peak Trainer, Lucian Reward, Champion Berry *2 Sinnoh region, Water Vessel Library. Although absolute silence was required here, suppressed cheers could still be vaguely heard. Lucian Elite. It seems to be one of the top-ranked elites. Yeah, it seems that so far, our Sinnoh region is the real big winner. 2 Champion Berries. Equivalent to 2 Champion Pokemons. In a corner of the library, Lucian, who was reading a special form of Pokemon in the popular science region, also outlined a smile on the corner of his mouth. Sure enough, after discovering the appearance of the Dragon Elements list, the idea of giving Aeroludo special training is correct. Although they are both at the top of Elite, Miss Katlia, I'm sorry, but I'm still better. In the end, I got an extra Champion Berry. In addition, the Champion Berry or Elite Berry given by the Pokemon God ranking list, what kind of principle does it rely on to make Pokemon's strength soar? I'm really curious. Lucian closed the book. He didn't have the time to continue reading now. As a scholar, Lucian didn't just want to get the Champion Berry and improve the Pokemon. I want to see more, the material composition of the God ranking reward, and the principle of its effect. Lucian looked at the 2 Champion Berries gradually condensed around him and couldn't wait to go to the laboratory. His heart is extremely happy and eager. Asterisk.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.